Honored guests, Dharma Masters, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today, from Dharma Realm Buddhist Association, we have assembled Dharma Masters, professors, and many dedicated translators to honor the Venerable Master Hsuan Hua's contributions to the fields of translation, education, and service as part of our commemoration of his centennial birthday. This event is in conjunction with the photo exhibit at this library, Bringing Dharma to the West, celebrating 100 years of Chan Master Hsuan Hua's teaching, which is in the Chinese Center on the 3rd floor, if you haven't had a chance to visit yet.
各位尊敬的法师们、居士大德、各位来宾午安，欢迎各位参加由法界佛教总会举办的纪念宣公上人100年诞辰活动。在今天的活动里，我们邀请了比丘、比丘尼、学者、教授以及致力于翻译佛经的人员，一起来回顾宣公上人在佛经翻译、教育以及倡导义工服务领域中所留下的贡献。与此同时，在旧金山图书馆3楼，法界佛教总会也提供了主题名为“佛法西传”。纪念宣公上人100年诞辰与教化的摄影展。
Today, we will have presentations from translation teams within the Buddhist Text Translation Society, presentations from Dharma Realm Buddhist University, which was fully accredited this spring, DRBU Extension, which is responsible for retreats and other events, Vajra Bodhi, our monthly publication, which is currently sent to 27 monasteries, libraries, universities, and readers around the world, Instilling Goodness, Developing Virtue School, and also a presentation from the Residential Volunteer Program at the City of 10,000 Buddhists.
在今天的大会里面，佛经翻译委员会以及今年才刚刚通过大学认证的法界佛教大学，以及法界佛教大学教育推广中心、金刚菩提海月刊、玉良小学、培德中学，以及万佛圣城义工服务计划的负责人，都将上台为各位做简报。
A few notes before we begin the main part of the program. Soon, in about 30 minutes, we will have headsets available for simultaneous translation. But right now, we're still waiting for them to arrive. So we'll begin the program with consecutive translation, English and then into Chinese. And we'll make an announcement as soon as the headsets are available. There are also tables at the back of the room with more information on the university, the schools, our translation teams, our monthly magazine and books. You're encouraged to visit them. This program will run from now until about 5 p.m. And then after the program closes, there will be an informal roundtable where we will break into small group discussions with the monks and the nuns here today. To begin today's program, we would like to invite Dharma Master Heng Liang to introduce and lead us in the opening invocation with Dharma Master Zhao.
在节目正式开始之前，我们想提醒与会大众，我们有同步翻译的耳机可以在大厅后方取得，但是目前耳机还在路上，所以等耳机到达以后，我们会跟大众宣布。除此之外呢，我们在大厅后方，我们提供了各种的资讯站，我们也欢迎各位来宾可以前往各个摊位，认识宣公上人所创办的学校，或是索取出版物及结缘品。今天的节目将从1点进行到5点。节目结束之后，法界佛教总会的比丘及比丘尼们将分组与来宾展开非正式的会谈。首先，节目一开始，我们要恭请衡量法师以及恒教法师带领大众进行开幕祈福仪式。恒教法师。
May we have the incense praise on the screen, please? Incense in the censer now is burning. All the Dharma receives the fragrance. From afar the Siva's host of Buddhas, holy hell is sweetness. Our sincere intention thus fulfilling. As all Buddhas show their perfect bodies, I Namo incense comes Now we recite the Heart of Prajna Paramita Sutra. The Heart of Prajna Paramita Sutra. When Bodhis are humble, Vikeshwara was practicing the fulfillment of Prajna Paramita. He eliminated the 5 skandhas and saw that they are all empty. And he crossed beyond all suffering and difficulty. Shariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. Form itself is emptiness. Emptiness itself is form. So too are feeling, condition, formation, and consciousness. Shariputra, all dharmas are imbued characteristics. They are not to just, not destroy, not defile, not fear, and they neither increase nor diminish. Therefore, in emptiness there is no form, feeling, condition, formation, or consciousness. No eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, or mind. No sight, sound, smell, taste, texture, perception, or nose. No field of the eyes up to and including no field of mind, consciousness. And no ignorance, no ignorance. Down to including no old age and death, or ending of old age and death. Therefore, there is no suffering, no accumulation, no extinction, no understanding, and no attaining, because nothing is attained. Bodhisattva, through their reliance on Prajna Paramita, is unimpeded in his mind. Because there is no impediment, he is not afraid, and he leaves distorted dream thinking far behind. Ultimately, nirvana, all Buddhas of the 3 periods of time, attain an Uttara Samyak Sambodhi through reliance on Prajna Paramita. Therefore, know that Prajna Paramita is a great spiritual mantra, a great bright mantra, a supreme mantra, an equal mantra, because all suffering is existence. That is why the mantra of Prajna Paramita was spoken, recited like this: Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasam Gate, Bodhisattva, then Prajna Paramita Sutra.
Our first speaker for today will be Dharma Master Heng Chih. She will be introducing the translation of Buddhist text. Dharma Master Heng Chih was one of the first Americans to be fully ordained as a Buddhist monastic in 1969 under the guidance of the Venerable Master Hsuan Hua. She is the Western Mahayana Bhikshuni who currently holds the most precept years in the world. She has been translating Buddhist texts from Chinese to English for over 40 years, and currently she serves as the Vice President of the Buddhist Text Translation Society and the Chair of the Board for Dharma Realm Buddhist University. Please welcome Dharma Master Chih.
今天第一位演讲者是恒持法师。恒持法师1969年在宣公上人座下出家，成为在美国最早受具足戒的比丘尼之一。他也是汉传佛教在西方里出家最久的比丘尼。恒持法师从事英译佛经的翻译工作已有40余年。他目前担任佛经翻译委员会的副主席，同时也是法界佛教大学董事会的主席。恭请恒持法师。
I don't know how to turn it on. I don't have to turn it on. Good afternoon. I know. So, Jin, sure? I gave it to Yuan, or do you want it? You're doing it. Okay. So today we're going to share more of the Master's legacy. You've already heard that twice, and I'm going to tell you one more time. We're going to learn how The Buddhist Text Translation Society generates publications in various target languages.
Hello.
You have it? She has it.
所以我们今天已经听过，我们今天要讲到宣公上人的4大志愿。那我们已经听过2次，所以我们接着呢就会在今天我会再讲。所以我们今天要讲是佛教翻译委员会，他在翻译以及印刷发行多种语言的经书跟遣释。
So a couple of us will talk about that. And then Dharma Realm Buddhist University, which was recently accredited, has representatives who will talk about the whole concept of developing inherent wisdom, which was one of the major ways that the Master taught us.
然后第2个部分就是在讲法界佛教大学，目前它已经受到西部学盟的认证，主要他们的题目呢，会讲主观智能、推动力，或者是开发自性本有的智慧，所以这也是宣公上人教化他的弟子最主要的方法之一。
So the university is accredited. And in addition to that, the university has an extension program which is very active and which presents sessions and one-day events, weekend events. And the one that will be talked about today is a month event where people who don't understand Buddhism can come and learn through this program called Living the Practice. So it's geared to people, both the pace and the input is geared to people who are just beginners.
所以法界佛教大学它是已经受到认证的机构。除此之外，法界佛教大学有推广教育中心，所以这个中心带着各种不同参加的人一起来打七，或者是有办1天或者是一个周末的活动，所以也会有人来讲这个部分。最主要这个部分是针对对佛法还不太了解、没有接触太多的人，所以他们也有生活与修行的这一个活动来给初学者。最主要就是他的步调是稍微比较慢一点，然后他的对象是初学佛的人。
And then we'll hear about the high school, especially the girls' high school, I guess, today. Because in the high school, the Master encouraged us to help instill ethical thinking into the students, but also to give them skills to go out into the world and be guardians of good, guardians of truth, and to be innovative instigators of change when change is needed for the better.
所以最后一个部分我们会听到有法师也会介绍培德女中，这个是所以宣公上人呢鼓励我们在教导学生的时候，能够让他们有一个道德观。所以也会给学生，这个学校也会教学生在毕业以后到世界上去，也能够做善事，也能够都是讲真话，也能够当需要改变的时候呢，他们也可以当这个改变的先锋。
Okay, and finally, Priscilla is going to come to talk to us about the volunteer program at the City of 10,000 Buddhas. It's very, go ahead.
最后，周瑞芬居士他会讲万佛圣城的义工服务的项目。
It's a very unusual program which allows people who are accepted to come in and offer their skills and their services in exchange for living in one of the most unusual and pure places of practice in the whole world.
然后最后， 周瑞芬居士他会来介绍万佛城的义工 program， 所以这是一个不同于其他的这一个服务的一个项目，所以他们义工会来到万佛圣城贡献他们的技能，然后能够住在万佛圣城，它是一个我们可以说世界上非常清净的一个地方。
So it's my turn now to talk about Buddhist Text Translation Society, and I think the best place for me to talk is to give you a little of the history from the time it started.
那所以我现在就要来讲佛经翻译委员会的这一个部分，所以我先讲一点它的历史，相关历史。
So it began, I believe you could say, as the autumn of 69 was changing into the winter of 70, that period of time. And what was that? It was when the first 5 disciples who went to Taiwan to become fully ordained returned to the Buddhist lecture hall.
所以这个就是从1969年的冬天到1970年的这个时间，就是我们五位法师刚从台湾受完具足戒，回到佛教讲堂的时间。
So the master immediately gave us a task. He told us we were going to have an 8 to 5 job, and our 8 to 5 job was to translate, and we were to translate the Sixth Patriarch Sutra.
那上人说，我们会有一个8点到5点的工作，什么工作呢？就是我们要翻译经典。第一部经我们翻译就是六祖坛经。
Now, before that happened, we had come in 1968 to the Shurangama session, and we had watched translators speaking on the spot, as she's doing now with me, with the master. And it's not as easy with that as it is with me, by the way. So we had watched that. And there had been, in the start, there had been 2 young Asians who started the translation, and then 5 who had come from University of Washington in Seattle, who had come, and they were enough bilingual that they were able to translate for Shifu. So we watched that.
所以在这个发生之前，就是1968年，我们都参加楞严经的暑假讲习班，所以我们就观察这个他们就是即席翻译，就好像现在这样子。那当然帮上人即席翻译呢，就是不一样的不是像帮我即席翻译这么容易的。所以当时呢，就有2位年轻的亚洲人，还有5位是从西雅图华盛顿大学下来的，所以我们有足够的讲双语的人就可以翻译。所以我们那时候就看着，然后观察。
So, especially for me, I knew no Chinese when I came to the Shurangama session. And so I realized right away how valuable it was to have translation. If we didn't have translation, I wouldn't know what was going on. But because we did, I had an opportunity at least to try to understand the meanings of the consecutive passages of text that the master was explaining.
所以尤其是对我来讲，我当时一点中文也不懂，所以我当时也是参加了楞严经的讲习班。后来我就发现，翻译它是多么的珍贵。如果没有翻译的话，当时我也不知道讲经是在讲什么。那因为我们有这个翻译，我们就可以明白上人他讲经文的一个意思。
So I need to tell you here that 2 of those people who translated back in 1968 are still around. Last time when we had our first gathering about Shifu, you were introduced to Doc Wong, who is a very well-known martial arts master. And he was one of the 2 young Asians, he was probably about 13 at the time, who translated in the beginning.
Okay, 所以我想告诉大家，在1968年翻译的 2位年轻人呢，到现在他们也还在。就是我们上一次大家有聚在一起的时候，他有来，叫做Duck Wang。那他是一个专门打功夫的一个师傅。当时他们都还很年轻，大概只有13岁。
And the second one who's still with us is Dr. Epstein. And he was actually the one who brought many of us to the Shurangama Assembly in 1968.
那第2位就是义向前博士，所以他也就带很多人来参加当年的楞严讲习班。
Okay, so we go back to 1970 winter, and 5 of us who were squeaky clean new monastics.
所以时间就回到1970年的冬天，我们5位都是刚出家的新鲜人。
We were Caucasian, and so Chinese was not our first language.
那我们都是白种美国人，所以中文不是我们的第一语言，不是我们的母语。
But the master wanted to make us into translators. So he encouraged us, and he outlined a process for translation that he wanted us to use. We can call it the simultaneous team translation. So we worked as a group, he said, in picking the passages of the sutras sequentially. And we'd all sit around and talk about how to put it in English. And then he said, once we decided how it should be, it was done. And we could go on to the next passage.
Okay, 所以上人希望我们都成为翻译家，所以他就要我们学习做翻译。所以他给我们这一个方法，就是我们有一个团队，然后大家都是同步一起翻译。所以我们会会选择经典的一句话，然后我们就会大家谈论我们要怎么样翻译，然后我们就把它写下来，写成英文。那如果大家都同意，我们都决定就是这样翻译，那这一句的翻译就结束了。然后我们就在下一句经文。
And Shifu had very high hopes that this simultaneous team translation format would succeed, but it didn't.
上人对我们有很高的期望，他也抱有很大的希望。他觉得这一个团体的同步翻译能够成功，但是没有成功。最后
It didn't because there were so many things we couldn't agree on. We were only 5 people. And we lacked patience, we lacked tolerance, and we lacked virtue to work it out.
为什么没有成功呢？因为我们只有5个人嘛，那我们5个人就常常都没有办法互相同意，也没有耐心，也没有包容心，也没有德行，所以就没有成功。
So suffice it to say that during one of our arguments about terminology, the Elder Master Hsuan's Dharma portrait crashed to the ground off the wall of the Buddhist lecture hall and silenced us all in our quarreling.
所以讲了这么多，当有一天我们正在激烈的讨论我们要怎么样翻译某一个佛教的专有名词的时候呢，虚云老和尚的相片就从墙壁上啪掉下来，然后我们每一个人就都闭嘴鸦雀无声。
That was the end of the first attempt to simultaneously have teamwork.
所以那个是我们第一次想要有一个团体的同步翻译。
And the beginning of sequential translation process.
然后那个也是后来逐步翻译，团体逐步翻译的开始。Sequential translation 呢？哦，没有团 ，OK， 那也就是逐步翻译的开始。
Yeah. So in order to have a sequential process, the master then created 8 rules for translators because suddenly the ego was very much involved. Of course, it had been involved in the fact that we couldn't get along, but it was even more involved when I became the translator of some sutra.
所以为了要做这个逐步的翻译，上人立定了翻译的8大条款、8大守则。因为我们的我相都很大也因为我们都没有办法 没有办法一起共处，所以有这个我相是因为可能我们就会觉得我现在是某一部经的翻译者了，所以我们的我相很大。
And he also set up the committees, which we are familiar with, the 4 committees, which are sequential, to translate and get the sutra ready for publication.
所以上人他就设定了4个委员会，然后是逐步的一个委员会，然后经典翻译完以后就可以出版。
So we began to each have our own sutra, and the process was we would listen to a little passage of Chinese, and remember, none of us were native speakers of Chinese. Then we'd roll it back and we'd listen again. Sometimes roll it back and listen again. The poor tapes are in terrible shape now because we rolled it back so many times.
Okay, 所以我们就开始翻译我们的经典，所以我们会听录音带，会听一小小段，然后因为我们都不是中文，我们的母语都不是中文，所以我们的录音带就会一直回转，然后听，然后再回转再听，所以那个录音带呢，都大概那个现在的品质都不是很好了，因为我们一直重复的听它。
So from the 70s through the 80s, through about to the late 80s, that's what we did. And we did it on very low-tech apparatus. We started with manual typewriters. If any of you may be too young to know what that is. Manual typewriters, which you had to use whiteout on. And if you wanted a copy, you had to use carbon paper. And so then if you made a mistake, you had to also erase the carbon paper. And we advanced to electric typewriters. We used, I'm sorry? They were selectrics, so you could use different fonts. And what else? Oh, and they had correcting tape, so you didn't have to use the bottle. And for listening, we started with reel-to-reel tapes and reel-to-reel players. And as I said, we went back and forth so much, we regularly wore out the players as well as the tape. And it was very hard to find reel-to-reel players as time went on because nobody used them anymore. So eventually, many, many years later, we advanced to more digital ways of doing things.
所以
大概吧。
OK
My time is up.
OK， 所以到1970年到80年，一直到80年代后期，我们就是这样做的翻译。当时我们的翻译的科技非常的低，就是我们用手动的打字机可能你们不知道什么叫手动的打字机，太年轻了。然后我们写错呢，我们还用立可白把它涂一涂。然后我们如果要复制这个的话，手写复印，我们还要有复印纸。总之后来我们就有电动的打字机，然后可以用不同的里面它电动打字机里面就有自动可以纠正错误的一些立可白在里面，所以我们那时候就是用那个转盘的那个录音带，还有那个录音机。那我们用了好多，所以他们差不多也就坏掉。那现在已经没有人用这样的机器了。最终很多年以后，差不多到现在，我们才开始，很多年以后我们才有数位的机器可以做。
Okay, so in the 80s, the mid to late 80s, two big things happened, at least for me as a translator. They were very big things. The first thing was that by then the master had many Asian or many monastics and lay people who could speak the Asian languages, Chinese and other Asian. And so they very quickly could take the audio tape and turn it into a Chinese manuscript, written words.
所以到80年中到80年后2件事情发生，后来有很多亚洲人都到庙上来了，所以他们都能够讲中文或其他的亚洲的母语，所以很快的呢，他们就把这个录音带誊成中文的稿。
So the master worked with those very skilled people, and they revamped how the first translation committee of the 4 committees was to work. And it was a mandate.
后来很快的呢，
后来 the master worked with these skilled disciples.
OK， 上人就跟这些非常有才华的人一起做这些东西，然后就把我们要怎么样翻译的第一步骤呢完全改了，然后这就是一个命令。
So we were told that we were to translate not by listening, but by looking at the manuscript. Now, we had learned classical Chinese. We learned how to read it because the sutras were Buddhist classical Chinese. I never learned to read the words of modern spoken Chinese because I listened to them. And all of a sudden, the rug was pulled out, and I could no longer go and listen to the tape. I had to learn the words. That was very difficult.
所以我们就被告知，我们翻译的时候不是直接听录音带，但是要看我们这个誊的这个手稿。那我当时学中文的时候，我是从经典里面学的，是文言文，也没有学过现代的中文，就是白话文。所以我们以前只是听讲白话文，所以我们现在就不能够听这个录音带来翻译，然后要学怎么样读这一个白话，对我来说是非常困难的。
It was a very steep learning curve. Now, of course, once we mastered it, we were delighted because now we could read what Shifu said in Chinese as well as the classical Buddhist Chinese of the text. So it had a happy ending, but it was a difficult process.
Okay, 所以我们要学习的时间就是非常的多，然后但是我们学完了学到了以后是非常高兴的，因为我们现在也可以读上人浅释的这个白话，还有经典的文言文，所以最后它是一个开心的大结局，但是这一个过程是很困难的。
The other major thing that happened in the mid-'80s was the computer. Now, Marian Robertson, I guess she's not here today, Guomoa, she was the advent of the computer age. She learned it before any of us. And she brought it to the city of 10,000 Buddhas, and she opened a class. And I went to the class. And I was appalled at the computer, and I started to cry. And I left the class, and I walked all the way back up to Shifu's house. We call it K. I walked up there, and he wasn't in. So I stood there crying and waiting for him to return. I don't know how long it took, but pretty soon he returned, and he said, Gracia, what's wrong? And I said, I don't want to use computers. And he said, it's okay, you don't have to.
所以另外在80年代中发生一件大事，就是电脑的发明。所以果摩 Marian Robinson 他就是当时用电脑的先知，所以他比我们都先学这个电脑，然后还来万佛城开课教我们怎么样用电脑。所以我也去学那个电脑。所以我一去学那个课，我就真的是很受惊，然后我就开始哭。我离开了那个电脑课，我就到上人住的那个房子，就是我们知道的 K Building， 我就站在那里哭啊哭。我不知道哭了多久，我就在等上人回来。后来上人回来了，他就说国修你怎么啦？他就说我不要用电脑。上人说没有关系，你可以不要用电脑。
当时呢，as BTTS progressed, if you wanted to keep up, you had to use a computer. And of course, the computer had many wonderful assets. No more whiteout, no more carbon paper. So I had to learn computer. And those were Those were the two things in the 80s. Now it's been 48 years since BTTS began.
那但是，佛经翻译委员会它一直要进步。如果我们想要跟上脚步的话，我们必须要学着会用电脑。但电脑也有很好的事情，也很棒。我们不再需要用立可白、修正译，我们也不需要用复印纸。所以我们就是都需要在80年代都需要学电脑。那佛经翻译委员会到现在已经48年了。
And I'm happy to report that the simultaneous team translation process is thriving. And that was the one that the Master first introduced.
那所以我很高兴的跟大家报告，就是我们团体同步翻译的这一个团体同步翻译，现在也是非常的好，做得非常的好。
And if you think about that, it seems to me that Shiva's disciples are getting better and better because we didn't have the patience, the tolerance, or the virtue to do it then, and they're doing it now, and they never argue.
所以你想一想，这个是上人要我们做的，所以这些人呢，我们现在翻译的人都越来越好了，然后他们都能够一起合作，也没有吵架，也没有对我们当时就没有耐心，然后也没有包容力。可是现在他们在一起都不吵架。
But those of us who lack those things still have the opportunity to do individual translation if we wish, and then it will go sequentially through the other committees. So both kinds of process are working. They're alive and well.
所以但是如果我们没有办法跟大家一起翻译的话，你还是可以各自己做自己的翻译，然后再经过4个委员会的这样的一个程序。
So today we celebrate the Master's 100th anniversary, and we can say that his initial hope of translating Buddhist texts into the languages of the world is gradually being fulfilled by monastic and lay disciples who volunteer their skills and services in all the different aspects of the Buddhist Text Translation Society.
Okay, 所以今天我们来庆祝真公上人100周年的诞辰。所以上人他最希望他能够把经典翻译成多种语言的这个愿呢，慢慢的由发心的在家人、出家人，慢慢的可以满他的愿大家来贡献大家的一些才华，还有他们的服务。
I just felt like talking more today, so I'm not even going to apologize for going overtime.
其实我今天非常想要跟大家分享，所以我的时间虽然超过，可是我不想道歉。
Thank you, Dharma Master. I'm pleased to welcome, I saw many people come in the last 20 minutes, and I'm pleased to announce that the headsets have arrived if you would like simultaneous translation. So the headsets are available in the back. Next, we're going to hear from 3 monastics that are actively involved in translation, and the topic is translation as a spiritual practice, personal experiences shared by translators. First, we'll hear from Dharma Master Heng, who currently serves as an instructor at DRBU and in the Sangha Laity Training Program. She is also an active translator for Buddhist Text Translation Society and involved with distribution and publication of books. She also served as the principal of the Girls Division of Instilling Goodness and Developing Virtue School for many years. We will also hear from Dharma Master Liang, who is dedicated to the translation of sutras and commentaries of the Venerable Master Hua for BTTS from Chinese to English, and he teaches Chinese language in the Boys Division of Instilling Goodness, Developing Virtue. And we will also hear from Dharma Master Xiang, who is a Sanskrit instructor at DRBU and also teaches meditation and ethics at Instilling Goodness, Developing Virtue School. And she also teaches Tai Chi to women at CTTB. And after we hear from those speakers, Dharma Master Jean Rowe writes Buddhist books for children and also teaches meditation to children and families at both Instilling Goodness Primary School and the Sudana Center in Ukiah. She recently, with a team, also launched a website, buddhismforkids.net.
接下来跟大家宣布，同步语言翻译机已经到达，所以需要同步翻译机的来宾们可以到后边去取用。接下来这个节目是翻译及修行，我们邀请了各个的译经者跟大家做心得分享。第一位来宾是恒英法师。恒英法师是法界佛教大学及僧伽居士训练班的讲师。他积极服务于佛经翻译委员会，并参与出版佛经及流通佛经的工作。过去，他曾经多年担任玉良小学及培德中学女校部门的校长。接下来是净言法师，净言法师致力于将佛经翻译委员会出版的佛经，以及宣公上人对佛经的启示，从中文翻译成英文。他同时也在培德中学男校部门教授中文。我们还有净祥法师要跟大家分享。净祥法师是法界佛教大学的梵文教授，他也在玉良小学、培德中学教导禅坐及伦理课程。同时，净祥法师也在万佛圣城教授女众太极拳。最后一位讲者是净荣法师。净荣法师专门为儿童创作佛教童书，他也在万佛圣城的玉良小学以及善财童子参学中心指导大人和小孩如何打坐。最近，他与一群义工在网络上成立了佛教童书网站。恭请各位法师。
阿弥陀佛 Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Heng, and I came to Buddhism in the early 1990s through reading Buddhist texts put out by the Buddhist Text Translation Society from the very early days on typewriter and so forth. And I was so inspired by that Dharma in my first semester of graduate school that I decided to moved to the city of 10,000 Buddhas and pretty soon joined the monastic order. And at that time, because I knew English and a little Chinese, I was immediately pulled onto the stage to translate. But I didn't know enough Chinese to really translate. So I had elder nuns sitting next to me whispering in my ear, either in basic English or in basic Chinese, what was supposed to be translated, and then I would repeat it into the microphone. Or I was pulled to translate for Vajra Bodhi, and I also couldn't read the Chinese, so again, another Dharma sister would sit next to me and tell me what it meant, and then I would write it down or type it into English. So thanks to my fellow nuns, I was trained hands-on until I could translate by myself. Still, for many years, I had no clue how to pass on this knowledge to others. And like Dharma Master Chih just said, the method of team translation became popular. And so really, when we are working in a team, it's a perfect way to develop and refine your own skills in language and translation, and also your spiritual practice. So now we have many teams translating Buddhist texts into English, Spanish, and Polish, and we are in team style, and we also have translators translating in Vietnamese, Korean, Japanese, French, Italian, and there's also some work done in German, Russian, Indonesian, and Farsi. So the vision is for many people to work together, contributing their own skills and doing their spiritual practice as they work on the Master's vision of translating the entire Buddhist canon, which contains several thousand texts, into all the languages of the world. So we still have a lot of work to do, and the good news is that everyone can have a role. So the previous speaker mentioned the 4 committees. The 4 committees include primary translation, bilingual review, editing the first translation several times, and certification. And then after that, it's ready to publish. And in the publication, there's also a lot of proofreading, in research of skills, building glossaries, polishing, and book design and layout, and publicity. And so also, we have many different audiences. Primarily, we just want to get the Buddhist scriptures out in basic, simple language, but we also want to translate it into liturgy that can be chanted or sung, and also into children's books, so it's easy for children to understand, or for young adults, and into music, video, and other kinds of media. But in general, I would like to say that translation is an excellent way to practice the spiritual path, in particular the 6 paramitas, the 6 perfections that a bodhisattva practices, and a bodhisattva being one who wants to awaken oneself and also others, and to become fully awakened. So I would just like to give a quick, hopefully, rundown of how that might work. So the first paramita is giving, or generosity. And so mostly we think about giving material wealth, but basically the highest form of giving is to give the teachings, to give the Dharma. And by dedicating ourselves to translating Buddhist texts, we are able to make this text available to people who speak different languages. And then when they read it, they can use it to practice and to get rid of their own ignorance, and to get rid of the violence, greed, anger, and delusion in the world, so that there can be more peace in all of our minds. And also it's a gift that lasts for many, many generations, even beyond our lifetime. And the second paramita is morality, or precepts. So when we are concentrated, whether individually or in a group, on translating a sacred text, we do invoke the aid of the awakened beings to help us have our own wisdom. And we enter into a state of reverence and awe. And we are inspired by the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and also by our own potential for awakening. So we naturally refrain from selfish acts such as killing, stealing, promiscuity, lying, taking intoxicants. The third paramita is patience. And just now, the Master Chih talked about how we have to be really patient when we're working together with others who might have different opinions. Definitely when we form a team, there will be many different opinions, different perspectives, different cultural and language backgrounds. And so there will be different ideas of how to translate and what the text means. So it takes a patience and it takes a big mind to appreciate these different voices, and to take all of them and bring out the collective wisdom and work harmoniously. So this is where the cultivation happens. A team member has to understand that they cannot take themselves as the standard of correctness and then pick and look down on the other team members. I myself, because I was trained as a solo translator, when I tried to work in a team, I found it very difficult. And I still really appreciate it, because it made me realize how much attachment and what a big ego I have. So, but then at the same time, I have also really enjoyed the team atmosphere, the joy and the humor, when we can, be very lighthearted and not be so serious about our own view being correct. At the same time, so that's patience. And vigor, that's the fourth paramita. Translation involves a tension between the original text, which comes from its own language and culture, and then we have to bring it into the target language and culture, which is very different. And then we have the goal, the foremost goal of faithfulness or accuracy. We have to definitely bring the full meaning across. And it has to be done with clarity, and finally with elegance or beauty. Our ordinary minds can hardly hold all of the web of meaning that the original text has, while also considering all of the different constraints that change when we move into a new language and culture, and trying to attain all those goals of accuracy, clarity, and elegance. So there are two different approaches to this. One is we are asked to use the true mind of the Buddha, which means we try not to just use our brain, but we try to tune into the infinite awareness that we all have that comes when we practice meditation and different contemplative practices. Then secondly, when we work together with many people, we can put all of our minds together. So there's collective wisdom from collecting the different perspectives, listening to all of them, and then the end result comes up with something very well-rounded and perhaps more perfect than what a single person might contribute. And then because that kind of team process and listening to everyone for every single line, every single word sometimes takes a lot of time, that takes vigor to continue to work on this line after line, page after page, and chapter after chapter, without expecting any material rewards, as this is a totally volunteer effort for the sake of sharing the Dharma. The fifth paramita is meditative concentration. So there was once, the Venerable Master instructed that we can translate for an hour, meditate for half an hour, and then go back to translate, so that our mind retains a sense of samadhi or groundedness and clarity, and so that we will not just be using our brain and our discriminating minds. And sometimes we might ponder a difficult concept or a puzzle for days, kind of like we would investigate our meditation topic. The final paramita is wisdom. As we practice taking the Buddha mind, the awakened awareness, as our own mind in translation, and as we immerse ourselves in the Dharma, our minds gradually expand and mature, and then we become more resolute, and our wisdom hopefully grows day by day. The Venerable Master himself had only 2.5 years of formal education, and he didn't know any other languages, yet he vowed to translate the entire Buddhist canon of several thousand texts into the world's languages. So he said, we are a common people doing the work of sages. We're using everyone's collective wisdom to translate the sutras. My experience has been that this kind of work is deeply rewarding, and it's a wonderful way to cultivate. So we have, if you're interested in helping in any of those ways, you are definitely welcome. We have bookmarks in the back with our website, buddhisttext.org, and you can sign up to volunteer. Thank you.
PowerPoint, please. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Let me familiar myself. Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody, our honored guests, and I use PowerPoint to make up for my inadequacy and eloquence. Here we are in San Francisco. Please go down. It's called the land of gold and hope. In the past, many people flocked to the city for the hope of striking a fortune. So that's how the city thrived in the past 150 years. It's also the base for the gold rush in 1849. And you know the story very well. So everybody is in search of a good life, fortunes, good name. So that's why I add the Lu Man Man Xi in search of gold. Okay. So in Buddhist Sutra, we also encounter the 7 jewels, 7 gemstones very often, and especially when you read Amitabha Sutra, the beginning page, you can see these seven jewels. I used the original translation in our CTTB recitation book. They are gold, silver, lapis lazuli, crystal, mother of pearl, red pearl, and carnelian. Carnelian sometimes as slash forward and amber or emerald. Next, please. The first one, gold, silver, the first two. And even without the word, without English, you can see and recognize. Please. The lapis lazuli on the left and crystal on the right. Crystal, you may not consider it as a gemstone or jewel. Okay. Next one, mother of pearl, these are quite fun sculpted piece of art, and they are very precious. If you can have a piece of such thing, and people believe they can bring them auspiciousness. They can ward off the evil energy. Okay, the next one, red pearl. And the last one, scroll down, please. The carnelians, another name, agates or agates. This is also a fun piece of jewels. And in San Francisco, if you tour now, you can see some of the jewelry shop. You may be able to find them. I never went there. Okay, so gold, and gold. Rush for gold in 1849. Here there's a poem by Thomas Hood. I want to play for you. I'll just read for you. So gold, and gold, bright and yellow, hot and cold, molten, graven, hammer, roll, heavy to get, light to hold, hoarded, bartered, bought and sold, stolen, borrowed, squandered, stole, spurned by young, but hung by old, to the verge of a church yard moat, price of many a crime untold, gold, and gold.
Price of many a crime untold. Gold, 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 gold. Good or bad 1,000-fold.
This is not
widely its agencies vary. To save, to ruin, to curse, to bless, as even its minted coins express. Now stamped with the image of Queen Bess, and now of a Bloody Mary.
So this is a story of the last 100-some years. And in this city, you've seen a lot of story happen. In order to get to the site of the gold, people had to travel from east coast to the west. They came by sea, by ships coming across the Panama Canal. They even had to go around Argentina in order to get to the west coast. West coast, yeah. So some of the imagery, I think is familiar, very familiar to you. Okay, and in Chinese we call this the gold or mountain, Jinshan, because all the gold are basically dug up, and therefore the city is named the Old Gold Mountain, Jiu Jinshan. where are the new cities of the gold mountains? Anyone? They went to Australia to search for gold. Okay, so now I'd like to present you with another idea. That's how the 49er came about. Okay, so and you see the Chinese workers, they came to labor to mine the gold. Many of them suffer and maybe even perish on this land. And with some exceptions of a few individuals who was able to find a fortune. Please. So these, the glittering things called gold. Now I want you to take a turn in your idea and seeing the gold in a different perspective. Scroll down. I like to predict in 2049 we may have another 49ers phenomenon. Okay, 200 years from 1849, and I call it the second gold rush. It all started from a monk in 1960s. You see him sitting on the top of the maybe hills, overlooking the city of the San Francisco. San Francisco is the city of San Francisco, San Francis of Assisi. And please go down. And we call the gate to city is called a gate to gold, Golden Gate. Please. And here the gold mining operations in the Gold Mountain Monastery. You may not even have the slightest idea how the gold can be found in a monastery. If the gold can be found, then the monastery, the temple, would be robbed overnight. And some goldsmiths and the mining engineer. He all started from simple idea like this. Okay. Yeah. So the gold that's within few recognize. Okay, I'd like to elaborate a little bit more on this idea. When Bill Gates in 1970s, 80s, all over the world, billions of people, very few saw the potential of computers, the Windows 95. And he was already among one of the first few individuals see such potential, and he worked towards this one, and he became the number one in the wealthiest people in the world. Consider Jack Ma. It's also a similar type of people. 20 decades ago, few people recognized the potential of the internet business, the website business, and he, despite all the odds and difficulties, worked leading his team through many difficulties, and now he succeeded, and he was able to stand out among all ordinary. It's one of the most wealthiest people in the world. What I mean is not we look up to those wealthy people like we are way below, but what I'm pointing out is the potential for us to realize something true within us. The previous one, the sacred text make the translation work sacred, and because of the sacred, we don't come and asking, "Oh, I'm busy, I cannot make my time to eat. I'm frustrated because you didn't pay attention to me. I didn't want to come anymore because my opinions are not accepted by you. I never get any real benefit from you." So many such mundane emotions, opinions, I wish you can cast aside, and then put your whole heart and whole mind into doing the work. By then, you will surely find it rewarding to do the work. That's called a true and pure Dharma bliss from doing the translation work. Okay, some of this of the 2,000 some years of translations, I think these these few pictures picture or paintings are the most symbolic one of doing translation work. I even put the picture in my iPad. Yeah, the wallpaper. Okay, and sacred canon make it worth dedicating our lives for it. I was not confident about my grammar, so I was shifting between sacred canon make it worth dying for it. Sacred canon make it worth to dedicate our life for it. So I feel a little bit. Finally, I landed on this version. Okay. So I encourage everybody to deeply enter yourself into the treasury of sutra, and you should be able to find wisdom as profound as ocean. It's every day we chant, but few people come to ponder on the meanings behind it. Become like a verbal Zen, verbal chanting. So here I like to offer a piece of sharing a piece of our translation. See how through the teamwork, ordinary languages can become like a elevated standard, elevated English for everybody of you. It's not through me, but through our whole team's work over and over to produce such a versified feeling in English. I like to read the Chinese. Many people who have bowed the Emperor Liang repented have known the verse. It's called a verse praise to Manjushri Bodhisattva and Universal Bodhi Bodhisattva. I read in Chinese first. 牡丹芍药真堪线，百花献上黄金钿。花开花谢占金莲. Now you see the rhyming, right? The rhyming of Chinese. 青衣童子贡献持正面，南无普供养菩萨摩诃萨. This is a Chinese 诗 or 词 in Buddhist content. Scroll down, please. I read the original one, and then you can see the meanings are out there. So the flowers are offered up to Manjushri and Universal Bodhi Bodhisattvas. Hundreds of varieties of flowers are offered in a yellow golden hall. Flower bloom, flower fold, golden lotus oil. Pure youth in plain clothing make offerings to the compassionate honored ones. Homage to Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, who make the universal offerings. Okay, this is quite well done, and the meaning are already put out there. But how to rearrange it, how to regroup the wording can make a difference. You can sense in the next piece. Offerings of flowers are made to Bodhisattva, Manjushri, and Samatha Vajras. Peonies admirable and exquisite. Hundreds more kinds of flowers grace the golden palace. Lotus bloom shed petals and reveal golden parts. A dark robed youth holds the flower before the honor compassionate one. No more universal offering, Bodhisattva Mahasattva. Okay, so this is just one of the pieces that I share with you from Zibei Sanmei Sui Chan and from Emperor Liang Repentance. Okay, my talk ends here.
I have PowerPoint. Okay, so my part is translation as personal practice, insights from Sanskrit. So my background, my name is Xiang, and I'm actually the recipient of the English translations, and I appreciate all the translations that have been done. And so for this Sanskrit, I started studying this language back in 1998 when I first went to the City of 10,000 Buddhas, and I started taking the Sanskrit classes with Barbara Wall, and I'm very grateful for her dedication. She was
at that time was working as a nurse and a volunteer teacher at the Dharma Realm Buddhist University. And I really appreciate, and I gained a lot of insights from her explanations. And I continue with Sanskrit, even though it was quite challenging. And so as personal practice, as I learned to investigate Sanskrit words once I learned the basics. So so my work as translation is in the Sanskrit area. So once all the translations into English are done, then there are some words in Sanskrit that need to be polished or need to be investigated. So that's where I come in, and I try to help as much as I can. So as you know, the Buddhist texts were, the teachings of the Buddha were originally transmitted in oral tradition. And so the teachings were not put down into written language until much later. And so there were a lot of translators doing their own work and doing their own translations, and there were probably no standards. So it's sometimes translators might translate the sounds or the meanings. So Sanskrit is an Indo-Iranian family of languages, and it precedes European languages, and so English is part of the European family of languages. So even though you may not think you don't know Sanskrit, you have some knowledge of Sanskrit. So some of the words you already know. If those in Buddhism, Buddhists who study Buddhist teachings may encounter Buddhas, right? Buddhas is a Sanskrit word, bodhisattva. But those who don't know Buddhism may think, oh, I don't know what it means. But even in English language, you have these long words. You can say long words. English words derived from Sanskrit. For example, you have a car, okay? A car, you pronounce a car. And it's actually a Sanskrit word. Do you know that? It's pronounced char. It's spelled the same way, but it's a root word that means to move. And another related word is charitam, C-A-R-I-T-A-M. So it means adventure. So like in Chinese, you can see the related meanings from the same root. And another word is look. Look. So look it comes from Sanskrit, and it's part of the name of Guanyin Bodhisattva, Avalokiteshvara. So you see the L-O-K in there. So look, avalok means look down or contemplate. And another word is suture. Suture, S-U-T-U-R-E, is an English word. Is from, it's related to the word sutra, meaning stitch together. So it's also from Sanskrit word. And another word is mother. Mother in Sanskrit is madri. It's a variation of the Sanskrit word. And another word is goal. It's a verb. Goal is from Sanskrit. So you can see that variation in the Heart Sutra mantra, gate, gate. So gone, gone. So it's go is an English word from Sanskrit. So, as you know, one of the vows of Venerable Master Hua was to translate the Buddhist texts into different languages. And the Buddha himself adapted his teachings to the languages of the natives wherever he went. As we translate into various languages, it's unavoidable to encounter pieces of the original language in Buddhist texts, and many of which are in Sanskrit. So they were. So as we do any work in the present, or we do work for the future, we cannot neglect the causes and conditions of the past. So just as in cultivation, we try to go back to our original nature, in translation work, as we tackle to deal with the target languages, at some point or other, we will run into pieces of original language in Buddhist texts. So it is said that ultimately there is no language to speak of, but on the other hand, when we do the work in this world, translation can be used as an expedient dharma to getting a peak of wisdom that was passed down. So from this, we can gain some insight into wisdom from contemplating the literary texts, you can see. So Venerable Master himself explained Sanskrit words in his commentaries. So one of them was sign tava. Depending on situation, that word can mean different things. So he explained that, for instance, if somebody wanted sign tava while he was eating, of course he wouldn't have wanted a chamber pot. He certainly wanted salt. When he was going to this person is going to travel, and he wanted Saintava, he would certainly want horse. And if he was thirsty, wanted Saintava, then he certainly wanted water. And if you see that he wasn't thirsty, wasn't eating, or wasn't going traveling, then of course he wanted a chamber pot. So Master had a knowledge of Sanskrit, and he explained these in his commentaries, all the variations. So when we translate, we also need to be open to different possibilities. So I'd like to give some examples of insights. Next. So root words can bring forth expanded meanings. So, one word is the bhik, B-H-I-K, and S dot. It's a root word meaning to seek a share. So this is the root word of the bhikshu or bhikshuni. This is a monastic. Okay, a variation of that is a related word is bhaj, which means to have a share, allot, distribute, or to partake of, to receive, and to eat. Because we receive allotted portions of donations of food. So you can see how root word can have different variations. Okay, another word is the Tathagata. The Tathagata has different meanings depending on how you decode. So it can be thus come one, thus gone one, or a student had that insight, thus not gone one, or thus not come one. And then Amitabha has a prefix, it means not. So mida is another, measurable. Apa means light, so it means immeasurable, one of immeasurable light. So since the time is almost running out, so next one. And it's another example of Bodhi Mandala and Bodhi Mandala. The one is a seat of enlightenment, the other is with just an extra LA. It means circle of awakening, or it's a bigger circle, bigger area of enlightenment. Next. Similar words. Okay. Last one is in the verses we have Indian culture. Language has a meter system, and with that metrification or setting meters, like in Chinese, it shows the method of memorization, a method of oral transmission, oral tradition, and how they can propagate Dharma through the verse meters. So that concludes my part. So the study of Sanskrit can open up possibilities of insights into Buddhist texts and then Buddha's intention. Okay. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jen Ro, and I'm speaking today on behalf of Instilling Goodness Books, which has just recently become the first imprint for Buddhist Text Translation Society. And as a teacher, years ago in 1983, we didn't have any books on Buddhism. Actually, the ones we did have, they were quite wonderful. They were made by all of our teachers, because the master says you should make your own curriculum. So these wonderful books were made. You know, they were just cutouts from other magazines or little cartoons and little drawings on things like be careful, don't show off, spiritual penetrations, and so forth. I mean, these are very simple. They're like gold, gold, gold. Because they were the beginning. I used to think, I really wish someone would write beautiful children's books on Buddhism. There's so many wonderful stories, but nobody did. And so I would tell the stories, and I would have my students draw pictures. And I thought, these pictures are wonderful. They should be in books. And I began to take writing classes in children's writing. And before I knew it, we had a couple of books going. And this kind of continued over the years. We did one book after the other. But then nothing really happened to the books. They were kind of there. But until, I guess, maybe about a few months, not too many months ago, we got a letter from a top publishing company for Buddhism in America, the top Buddhist company. It says, we just found a book. It's called Under the Bodhi Tree, written by Jen Ro. And the illustrations are stunning. The writing is beautiful. We would like to buy the copies, the rights, and have this translated to Vietnamese. And our people says, eyebrows went up. They said, no, we're going to do it ourselves. How can we sell our books to another company? And just like that, teams begin to develop. And these books are now being translated into Spanish, into Vietnamese, Chinese, and English. So this was quite wonderful. And then I share an office with a nun who just came here. She's been in another temple. She says, oh, I think we should promote children's books. We should develop a website called Buddhism for Children and put your books on the website. I said, sure. She said, okay, write this and write that and write that. And day and night, she said, write this and write this. And I'm writing and doing all these things to try to create a kind of curriculum for kids on websites. And And she made it very beautiful. She's very artistic, made it really, really splendid, wonderful. And so now this website just shot up right away. It's right on top page of Google for children's books. And we're getting a lot of orders. And then just recently, well, actually, years ago, Tara Nicholson, she's the ex-principal of the school, she was writing a book on Guanyin Bodhisattva. And she says, I'm writing this book, but I really don't know what to do with it. I say, well, I'm writing one too. I don't know how to finish mine. So we both put the two books together, and we came up with a book called Guanyin, the Buddhist Helper. And it got published recently. And just like that, all these years, nothing happened. All of a sudden, it's put on a book list, and we got a star for being one of the best books, religious books for children. So now, so that's how we're, and all the way from the spiritual penetrations. So here we go. So I want to show, here are a few of the slides of some of the books that we've done. And this is our most recent book. Can you click on, all right. These are the books in English. Can you click on Snow-Covered Peaks and show one of the pages inside? Just click on it, and then just go down, and then can you? Oh, there we go. Yeah. These are done by Heng Qingshi. She's in CDR. She's a wonderful artist, but the designer is in France. Her name is Amandine, and so the three of us have been working together on a couple of books. And we have more to work on in the future. But just to show you some of the wonderful things that have happened over the years with so many people working together. Okay, you can go to bilingual. You can go up, and let's go to bilingual. Yeah, English, Chinese, fine. And so these are the books that have been translated in both Chinese and English over the years. They're different books by different authors, which is wonderful. We need more authors. And then the next one is go to Spanish now. And here's our Spanish collection. So I want to go back to Kind Monk. That'll be in the English books. Oh, yeah. So after the master passed away, I realized that our children would not know him. He wasn't around anymore. So I really wanted to write his biography, mostly just so in the future, all the children, whoever from everywhere, can know about him. And it's amazing when I go in and tell a story about the master, no matter what the kids are doing, they stop, they're totally enthralled. They sit there and listen to everything I say, and they can repeat all of his stories. He has this it's very magical. There's a real connection. And it's interesting by using the word, using the pictures, and just using the situation that he comes back for them. He's there for them, and he's very inspiring on that point. Okay, that's all I'm going to say today. But we're looking for illustrators. We have some more books in mind. As a matter of fact, I have about 5 books I'm writing right now. You had to write a lot of books at one time, because to get the right artists and to get the right words. So Master Hsuan just wrote a song called Breathing Out, Breathing In, Inside Out, Outside In. and it's about the Buddha teaching one of his disciples how to breathe. But it's going to be a very humorous book, a lot of fun. And then we're doing on one, the team, Amandine and Master Qingshi, we're going to do one on Amitabha, and also on Earth's Treasury, and then the 4 Buddhas and the 10 Bodhisattvas. And I think by then, a book out a year, I'll probably be, well, anyway, that'll probably be all I can do at that time. and I already have the artwork for Sudana and all the teachers. It's already been done. I just had to write the words. And we're doing a book on loving kindness meditation in all the different languages in the world. We have about 24 different languages, so we're going to say, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be full of peace. So that's what I want to say on the behalf of Instilling Goodness Books today.
Thank you, Dharma Masters. Next in our program, from BTTS Chinese Publications, we have Dharma Master Jingguo. Dharma Master Jingguo oversees many aspects of the publication and distribution of our Chinese books and is also an instructor in the Sangha Laity Training Program.
感恩各位法师。接下来的节目是为大家介绍佛经翻译委员会的中文出版物。我们为您邀请到净国法师。净国法师负责推广佛经翻译委员会的中文出版物，同时他也是僧伽居士训练班的讲师。
各位法师、佛友们好。个人代表中文出版部来做一个报告。Next， 如果我们不断的努力将上人讲解的这个经典整理出来，那么在中国佛教历史上，上人的著作呢，将超过中国历史上著述最多的蕅益大师。这是一个出版书的数量是很惊人的，因为上人他一辈子都在讲经说法，无论是大小经典，只要和众生有缘的，上人看到机缘对了，他就讲。华严经上人就讲了9年多。其实在中国的历史上，讲解华严经的法师并不多，因为这是一部很大的经典。上人同时他还讲解了楞严咒。那在中国佛教历史上，只有2位法师讲过，就是清朝的续法大师跟上人。上人讲了将近8年，从1979年到1987年讲解楞严咒聚集解。上人还留下一部很特殊的作品《水镜回天录》，那它是以佛教的因果观念来看历史，这些很珍贵的心血全部都会留在佛教的历史上，无论是中国佛教或是美国佛教。对于我们参与出版的人来说，其实呢，这是一场很长的分工合作的接力赛。中文出版部这么多年来，我们致力整理上人所留下的档案，我们从音声到文字到出书，这个中间呢，有太多的人，他们默默的付出。我们只有一个目的，就是让圣人的这个言教能够影响世界，影响人心。为了配合现在这个时代，所以我们在书本编辑和设计上，我们都做出了很新的风格，让更多没有接触佛法的人能够对佛教产生兴趣。我们可以看一下，中文出版部的一系列的经典。下一张。
Okay, so may I translate? All Dharma Master, all friends in Dharma, Amitofo. I represent the BTTS Chinese department to make a brief report. If we continue to work hard to publish all the sutras and commentaries Venerable Master lecture on, you will know that all the publication we did for him will surpass the number of writings or publications Venerable Master O.E. had in Chinese Buddhism history. So you will see that the number of the books and sutras commentaries being published is quite amazing, because in Venerable Master's entire life he lectured on sutras and spoke Dharma. Whether it's a big sutra or a small sutra, as long as living beings have affinities with them, he will lecture on it. For example, he lectured on the Avatamsaka Sutra for 9 years. There weren't that many Dharma Masters who lecture on the Avatamsaka Sutra in the history of Chinese Buddhism, because it's really a huge sutra. Venerable Master also commentated on the Shurangama mantra, and there were only 2 Dharma Masters in Buddhism history had lecture on this or explain the mantra. And the first one is Master Hsuan Hua from the Qing dynasty. The other one is Master Hsuan Hua. So Venerable Master took 8 years in explaining the Shurangama mantra. So that was from 1979 to 1987. So he also left us a very special work. It's called Water Mirror Reflecting Heaven. Venerable Master would explain explain history in the aspect of Buddhism's law of causality. So all his effort, blood, and sweat will be will leave an imprint in Buddhism history, whether it is a Buddhism history in China or Buddhism history in America. So for people who participate in the publication work, this is a really long collaborative relay, because all these years BTTS Chinese have been working hard to organize, compile, and publish the various talks that Venerable Master had left us, including sutra commentaries. So from sound to words to let's say from tape to manuscripts to published books, many people were dedicating their time to do this. And we only really have one purpose. We really hope that the words and the teachings from sages could really have an impact on people's mind, hence a better world. So to acclimate to the modern world, we have also changed our design and design styles to be more modern, so that people who have not encountered Buddhism may have interest in Buddhism.
这是我们改编的，就是一系列的中文经典系列哈。下一张。
So this is the commentaries that the new designs and the new layout.
做成像套书一样。
Okay, so it's like a set book in series.
这是上人讲解的《水晶回天录》，还有佛祖道引白话解。那佛祖道引呢，其实很多其他的佛教团体都有跟我们请书，在他们自己的僧团里面作为一种教育的教材。
Okay, so this is Water Mirror Reflecting Heaven and the lives of the patriarchs. Actually, as far as the lives of patriarchs are concerned, a lot of other monasteries would also get this set of books from us as their educational material.
下一张，这个是我们为了能够接引比较多的年轻人能够学习佛法，所以我们就配合一些画家的插图，然后做了比较小本的绘本系列。
And then we have these styles of books. This is actually targeted for a younger audience who can come and learn Buddhism.
那这一本书也是很特殊的，是上人就是讲解，就是关于就是对生命的一种尊重。那这一部书呢，也是我们中文出版部第一部电子书，然后我们也配合里面的插图做了一些简单的动画。那个时候在台湾的一些佛教电视台还帮我们做上了一些配音，然后在电视台不停的播放。
Okay, and this is a rather special book. This is basically instructions to respect lives. So this is also the first ebook that BTTS Chinese Department published. We have some illustration with some cartoons together. One of the Buddhism station or channel in Taiwan would match it up with some music and then play it on TV.
这是上人在1970年，然后讲白日常那时候禅期的时候讲解的开始。那我们也整理成一系列的书。那中间也有一本很特殊的，就是上人在当时讲解了中国很多的那个历代祖师，然后出成那个高僧传。
Okay, and this is the instructional talk given during the 100-day Chan in 1970. Part of the lecture was very special. There was a period of time Venerable Master would lecture on the lives of the patriarchs or the eminent monks. So we had compiled all these together into the biography of the eminent monks.
这个是目前最受欢迎的书籍啊，就是
This is the most popular book so far. You can see there's recipes.
大家都喜欢吃的。
People like to eat.
但是在这个素食食谱里面呢，我们还是放上了很多上人的开示以及法语。
So we've also incorporated Venerable Master's instructional talks and words of Dharma into these vegetarian recipes.
这一系列的素食食谱的书六本，现在到目前的印刷量已经差不多快要接近100万本。
Okay, so this is a series of 6 vegetarian recipe books, and we have published over 1 million volumes of them, million books.
那我们除了说，就是在我们跟中国，就是也跟北京宗教文化出版社合作，然后也出版就是上人简体版的那个经典系列。那上人的出版品在北京宗教出版社也是销售排行第1名。
So we've also worked with the religion and cultural publishing house in Beijing. This is the simplified Chinese of the sutras and the commentaries. So they are actually #1 bestsellers in their publishing house.
下一张。Next， 这个是最新的一系列的，就是在中国要出版的那个简体版，我们改版的最新的系列。
Okay, and this is the publication in simplified Chinese, the newest design and newest publication.
Next. 那近年来，我们除了不断的推出新书之外呢，我们更努力的推出法宝，成立很多的这个。
Okay, so we have continued to publish new books, and we work even harder to also promote these Dharma jewels.
在中文书籍来说，其实我们的出版量已经到了一定的数量，所以我们现在开始以推广为主。那我们成立中文购书网站，服务全球的读者，同时我们也接受其他的寺院，包括其他的宗教机关团体的申请。
So we have published quite a lot of these books. So our next step is target in publicity and promotion. So we have set up Chinese bookstores online to serve all the readers in the world. And also we have received applications from other monasteries, other religions, or institutions to get our books.
我们主动的将上人的书籍赠予各大图书馆、学校等教育机构，并且我们参加一些国际的书展、素食展，种种对外的活动。
Okay, so we will proactively give out our books to all different libraries, education institutions, and participate in international book fairs and exhibits for vegetarianism and activities like this.
这些是我们参加书展跟素食展的一些照片。
So these are some pictures from the vegetarianism exhibit.
请书的人非常多，尤其是素食食谱。
Lots of people come to get the books, especially these vegetarian recipes book.
那我们在各大书局也有销售上人的书籍。
We also sell them in various bookstores.
下一张 ，Next。那这个是我们的购书网站，那每天都是接到很多的这些订单。
This is our online website to purchase the books.
甚至一些就是佛教的宗教团体或是寺院，那我们都免费提供他们佛书。
So for religious organizations or Buddhist monasteries, we offer these books for free.
我们目前的希望就是说，我们继续完成上人是留下来的这些他的讲经说法，同时呢，我们也希望上人的法能够走出去，不是只在我们道场里面流通而已，我们能够让更多的人有机会学习上人的教导。阿弥陀佛。
Okay, so right now we really hope to continue to finish compiling all of the dharmas that Venerable Master spoke. Furthermore, we really hope that the dharma could really circulate outside of the monasteries that we are currently in. So it's not just kept within our circle. So we hope more people will be able to learn the teachings of Venerable Master.
Next, we'd like to introduce our Spanish translation team for the Spanish translation of Buddhist text. Today we have with us Dharma Master Deng. She is the librarian for Dharma Realm Buddhist University and also leads translation teams that translate from Chinese and English to Spanish. And with us we also have Mr. Juan Gracia, who is a translator of Buddhist text to Spanish and also an administrator and core teacher for the Boys Division of Developing Virtue School.
接下来为大家介绍的是西班牙语文的佛经翻译。我们邀请到净灯法师以及格雷西亚居士为大家介绍净灯法师。净灯法师是法界佛教大学的图书馆馆员，同时也是佛经翻译西班牙语文组的组长。格雷西亚居士是佛经翻译西班牙语文组的成员之一，他同时也是培德中学南校部的导师。
Good afternoon, everybody. Here is Jindan on behalf of the Spanish translation. And how I got into BTTS to do the Spanish translation. So I have to go back to the year 2000 when I went to the City of 10,000 Buddha for the first time to attend the Guanyin session. And I was not expected to do any translation, but the same day afternoon, I was introduced to a Dharma master who gave me several books published from BTTS and told me to translate them into Spanish. I opened my eyes. And at that time, honestly, I was not familiar with Venerable Master talk. And of course, I had to study all this book before I started to do the translation. And I spent almost a year to study the books. And at the end, I was full of joy, and I realized Venerable Masters use simple words to explain all these complicated principles in a depth. Okay, and I was like a child who entered to a toy store and was so amazed and wanted to play with all the toys that he sees. Well, I wanted to read all the sutra that came to me, okay? And I wanted to study also the Tripitaka collection at that time, and I was very excited with the Dharma. Then I heard a message from the Venerable Master. Well, Buddha Dharma is as vast and deep as the ocean. We have to take the water little by little. Don't rush. So I got the message. And I concentrated on my translation. And my experience as translator, actually, the translation work is a deep study in Buddha Dharma. And some of the members of the translation team said, wow, it's like a gate entering to a wonderland where you can find all the treasure of the Dharma. And actually, the team, I will talk later, and they are also very delighted with the translation. And of course, we have a lot of work to do, a lot of study to go. And also, working for the translation, we help to have a clear understanding of the life issue, understand more about the people behavior, more patient, and less controversial discussion about the differences. And the most important thing is you can develop the inner peace and happiness. So I would like to invite people who are interested to do the Spanish translation, please contact me. And we have an online translation team, which established 5 years ago. Here, Mr. Gracia was one of them and started from the very beginning, from the first meeting until now, and we still keep going and a lot of work to do. And we have the, please. Okay, the next, okay. We gather 4 days, 4 afternoons a week, and actually we're working on the Vajra Sutra and also Surangama Sutra, Surangama in new translation. For the Vajra Sutra on Tuesday and Surangama Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And total 8 hours a week, and sometimes we go more than 10 hours. So you can see the, through the website, Buddhist Text, you can find the schedule for the Spanish translation and also schedule for English translation and the Chinese study also. And under that, we have the Spanish web, Texto Budista, but it's under construction. So we need a webmaster, please, who is interested to work on this. I'm doing the advertisement because we need a person to continue with the work, okay? And we will be very happy if that person contact me. Next. To continue to celebrate the centennial birthday of Venerable Master, we have published 4 books this year. And the first one is Venerable Master Dharma Talk, Camino a la Verdad, Volume 1. And the second is from the Chan handbook, Om Manuane Chan, and this is the 3rd edition. And the third one, Buddha's Helper, you saw the cover, the show by Jing Shi, and is Guan Yin, La Virgen de Esperanza. And this is for the children book. And the 4th one is from Meditation Handbook for Free Distribution. It's the small one, and we already translated into Spanish, and it's called Meditación. And a lot of books are gone already, okay? And continue with the celebration of the 100th birthday of Venerable Master. We expect to, next, okay, we expect to publish 4 books for next year. So the first one is Camino a la Verdad, Volume 2, is the Dharma Talk from Venerable Master, the Volume 2. The second one is Sutra Amitabha, new edition. The last published was 40 years ago. So we did the edition and we did all the translation. And these 2 books are already done. Maybe in a few weeks, we're going to send for the printing. So if for sure, will be published next year and you can see in the market. The third one is the Sutra Siddhigarba from Earth Store Sutra. We couldn't find the best name for the for this sutra, so we keep the Sutra Siddhigarba. But we're still discussing about the Spanish translation. Some said Tesoro de la Tierra, but not all people are agree. So for now, it's Sutra Siddhigarba. Maybe for the time for the publishing, you can see another name, maybe. And the last one is Sutra Surangama, the new translation. We are revising the last chapter, and for sure next year we'll be ready for the publishing, okay? And besides to these 4, we have also 100 Dharma already done and waiting for the publishing also. And Pumanping, also the universal chapter of Guan Yin Bodhisattva, already revised. So we need people to help for the Spanish translation. Please, if you can help or you have friends who want to help, we welcome them, okay? And the Dharma Master asked me to share some words because in Spanish, because Venerable Master said, Chinese speaker should learn English, and English speakers should learn Chinese. So we are in the Spanish translation, so we are going to share some Spanish words, okay? So the 3 poison, greed, please read together with me. Avaricia, okay? Avaricia. You won't forget it. And you can see the faces, right? Ooh. Okay, anger, enojo. Enojo is anger, okay? Ignorance is almost the same. Ignorancia. Ignorancia. So, avaricia. Enojo. Ignorancia. Great. All of you can help us for Spanish translation. Okay, the next one, samadhi and precepts, they are in Sanskrit. So no translation, right? But wisdom is sabiduría. Sabiduría. Okay, we have to make vow every day. Vow is voto. Okay, we have to accumulate a blessing working in the monastery. Bendición. Great. Okay, giving Dharma is the foremost. And I'm pretty sure the best time yet to be for the Spanish speakers. And when the condition mature, we will have more books in the market. Welcome, everybody. Okay, thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Juan Gracia, and I'm helping here in the Spanish translation group. And Master, we always call her Maestra, Master Jin Deng. She's very modest, but I can tell you that in the Spanish group we have mastered the art of group translation, and the secret is to keep each member of the group in a different country. So we have people in Mexico, we have people here in US, in Venezuela, Argentina, different places. And we get online and the discussions are really reduced to a minimum. We hear each other and to me it's wonderful to be able to hear the Spanish from different countries in South America, because every country has taken layers from the indigenous languages there, and so they express things in different ways, and it's always a very good experience to see how they phrase different things or the same thing in different ways, and to be able to come to an understanding. So for me, that's is very special. But from a very personal point of view, I enjoy being able to add something. It feels at times that we're just putting a drop of water in the ocean with what we do, but we keep trying. In living the city of 10,000 Buddhas, most of our cultivation is. Some people meditate, but it's this loss of recitation, and we repeat mantras, pumempin, other things, and when you are doing translation, you sort of reverse it, and then you have to stop, and then you focus on a single character, or 3 or 4 characters, or a sentence, and you have to really pay attention to that, and it's the opposite to the recitation. And so I enjoy that part too. And another thing that I really enjoy is to something that many people in the city experience when they're listening to the lectures of the Venerable Master is that sometimes out of the blue makes a commentary that directly points to something that you were thinking these days on your head. So it happens many times in the translations that the master, because the they were spoken impromptu at a hall somewhere 30 years ago, and out of the blue, it makes a commentary that is completely unrelated to the sutra, but affects you in some way that you were thinking, or something that you were pondering on your head. And when that happens, I always feel it's something very special. And sometimes it feels that a single comment, it made the whole afternoon worthwhile being there. All right, so I enjoy that, and I hope that people can, as the maestra said, can come and join and take part in that. Thank you.
Thank you. For our next presentation, we have the Vietnamese translation of Buddhist text. With us today, we have Dharma Master Heng Yo. Dharma Master Yo is the guest prefect of the City of 10,000 Buddhas and also translates text from Chinese to Vietnamese, as well as Mr. Hong Ha, who also translates from English and Chinese to Vietnamese, and for many years has translated live Dharma talks written text, and also hosts a website that shares Dharma talks in Vietnamese.
接下来为大家介绍的是越南语文的佛经翻译。我们为您邀请到恒优法师以及何果弘居士为大家介绍。恒优法师是万佛圣城的知客师，他常年致力于将中文佛经翻译成越南语文。何果弘居士长年以来将英文及中文佛经翻译成越南语文，他也经常集习翻译法师们的开示。何居士也在网络上主持越南语文的网站，协助法音的流通。
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Heng Yo, and most of the time my work is orally translation. I only have some time in editing Vietnamese translation only. So I would like to share with you about how I learned Chinese. So I came from France, and the year of 1990, my master went to Europe. That time I don't know any Chinese. So in 1991, I arrived to the City of 10,000 Buddha. Every time I need translation, and each time I want to speak with Dharma Master, always need to find somebody to help me to translate. And so in the beginning, we always use the headphone to listen to the Vietnamese translation. And later on, because every time, one time when ex-minister Vietnamese who came to visit the master, Venerable Master, and he say something about he met some Vietnamese young nun. So later when he returned, he left. Sư phụ just asked Dharma Master to find me and say, ask me, encourage me that to need to work hard in learning English. And I remember one time when I went to with Venerable Master to LA to the Dharma talk in the University of Los Angeles. At that time, I speak in French and get scolding, but Master said I speak too long and they need to have a lot of time for translate to English and then to Chinese. That's his first time. So the second time, because Master went after ordination, this is the first time. The next time after ordination, keep going. I was sent to Gongwi Monastery, and this time only 2 Dharma Master stays there. And each time Venerable Master came to the temple, we need to take turn to give the Dharma talk. So keep going until you see Master sit together with me. So that is the ordination. And the time that I sit nearby the Master, because most of the time when Sifu went to any place, we Bhikkhu and Bhikkhuni need to take turn to give the Dharma talk. So the Bhikkhu speak first, and after that the Bhikkhuni will take turn to speak, and the Master will speak the last one. So the first time, and when I sit in Gongwi Monastery, when Master this time I so worried because I don't know Chinese. I don't know, my English is so poor. And so I just write down a few English words and waiting for Master asking me to speak. But I think Sifu know that I don't know how to speak, so, and I worry so much Sifu didn't ask me to speak at that time. So just sit there. So later on, another time, my English get better. So I speak in another lecture. That's in English. I speak about the story of the human roof. But Sifu say, 够了, it means enough. So I quickly summarize my story and finish. So the person who translates, she don't know what happened. She just say what happened, that you just ending the story so fast. So I promised to myself that next time when I speak nearby Sifu, I mean maybe speak in Chinese, so it will be shortcut of the time for translation. But later on, Sifu gets sick, and we always go to airport to meet with Sifu, and Sifu also give Dharma talk in the airport, and. Later, when Sifu was in the hospital, every time I went to the hospital to see Sifu, I always point up my face and say that you need to learn Chinese. And every time, every day before I left the hospital, Sifu always say that. So I return to the monastery every night. I try to learn faster. Because most of the time I understand a lot of Chinese, but I dare to speak because the pronunciation is not correct. So people always laugh. So I'm afraid of people laugh at me, so I didn't dare to speak in Chinese. But because from Sifu blessing and Sifu encouraged us to speak, so when Sifu enter Nirvana, I know how to speak Chinese. But later on, when I moved to the city of Dharma Realm, the Dharma Master in the city of Dharma Realm don't know, always complain that my English is so poor, she cannot understand it. So I need to force myself to try to explain in Chinese for her. And because of that, my Chinese improved. And I can help to translate every day for those who don't understand Chinese and English, so translate to Vietnamese. So my translation will become better and better. Later on, because so one time, because when I translate Sifu Dharma talk, Sifu speaks slowly, so easy, no problem. But when I have to translate the Chinese to Vietnamese for some Dharma Master who speak very fast, so I starting to worry, and I cannot remember what she say in the last minute, so I have no time to write down everything. I cannot remember either, so always missing the last part of the translation. But I learned from that lesson that I need to keep calm, and also don't have any discrimination mind, because if I have a mind that I don't like this Dharma Master, she speak too fast, so my mind will get blocked. And if I am calm enough, I don't think that I don't like it or I don't hate it. So I can translate correctly and also can memorize easily everything to the first to the beginning, so don't forget the last part. So that is what we learn every time we speak the Dharma, and we have to translate. With the important thing that is like we should not write have the mind of discrimination, and keep calm, and everything like need to like don't afraid of anything. Like Master said that do your best, and because we try our best, so that's enough. When we cannot translate or when we don't understand something, I just say that I will try to find out and translate later. So that is what I learned from the translation. And I think the theme of writing translation is much more difficult because for me, each time I try to translate by reading text, I need to find a dictionary and find a lot of words because I don't know much of Chinese writing. And because of this translation, we need a lot of time and a lot of patience to read in the dictionary and also find the correct meaning for the proper translation. So I think that is what I want to share with everyone.
Can I borrow the remote control? So it's done yet?
Yeah, after that we need to translate a lot of for young people need also translate in different language, English or Chinese or precept. So because I learned Chinese and I can translate for all of the Vietnamese who don't know any Chinese and English. Amitofo.
Amitofo. My name is Hong Ha. My Dharma name is Ko Hong. And I just would like to say briefly about the Vietnamese DRBU translation. So in 1974, the Venerable Master Hsuan Hua came to Vietnam with the DRBU translation, and he advocated translating, and a lot of Vietnamese later on, they spread out all over the world. And nowadays, we are doing the translation with the participation of the people all over the world, because there's a Vietnamese community all over places. So in 1990, we published the first book that instructional talks that in 1990. And at that time, the translation is done by just a few people. But we have 4 committees and try to do our best. And at that time, with the guidance of a Vietnamese Dharma master, the book had been translated beautifully. And then in 1991, in September, we tried to do the first new letters. At that time, we don't have a Vietnamese fonts using, so we have to put the accent marks manually. So we put the accent mark by hand. So you can see on the first new letter is a lot of written tone marks. And then we have a technology. At that time, we use Macintosh. And we have no Vietnamese font. So a Vietnamese Dharma friend designed a font for us with our Macintosh. So we have our first new letters in 1992. And then in 1997, Master Hsuan recommended us to have a Vietnamese website. So we start building it in 1997. And it's continued to present day. And beside that one, it's an old design. We have a new design now. It's It's called Van Fatan. It's the same contents, but with different web design technology. And we also have a Vajra Buddhist in Vietnamese website. And we try to do it quarterly, but we don't have enough manpower, so we're way behind. And we have the DRBU books in Vietnamese online, so people all over the world, they can access to the website and read the book online. And we also have videos and audios online, so people can access wherever they have internet access. And we also have Facebook, so people can participate. And on BTTS website, we have many Vietnamese publications with CDs and books. And many books is already published, and we can buy online or go to CTTB and get it from the bookstore. And because his Venerable Master Hua Dharma is so popular, so in Vietnam, many Buddhists voluntarily read the books out and make it into YouTube videos. So now we have 1,000 of YouTube videos with Master Hua teachings. And in Vietnam, DRBA Dharma is very popular, and many Dharma masters there, they follow the practice of DRBA. And there's a Dharma master, he make a 1,000 miles, one step, one bow pilgrimage for 4 years. And he inspired by the pilgrimages of DRBA Dharma master in the United States. And also at the Duc Vien Temple, they send the nuns there to CTTB to learn and to practice at CTTB. And now at Duc Vien Temple, they do a 3-step, 1 bow regularly at their temple. This one in San Jose, California. So in general, Master Hua has a very great influence in Vietnam, and a lot of people follow his teaching. And many monasteries in Vietnam using the books published by DRBA, and they also use the English book and Chinese book because they want their disciples to learn English and Chinese. So with our Vietnamese translation, we got a lot of help from the Chinese translation group. A lot of time we have difficulties with terminology. Sometimes we want to get it, we want to make sure it to be correct. So we send an email to the DRBA Dharma Master, like Dharma Master Chin Khan, Dharma Master Han Yin, and we try to get help, and they're always very helpful. So on this occasion, we would like to thank you for all the help that we can get, and thanks for everyone for helping. Amitofo.
Thank you for that wonderful presentation. We have 2 more short presentations before we're going to take a brief intermission. Next, we have Dharma Master Xiang, who will be introducing Vajra Bodhi, DRBA's Buddhist monthly journal, which has been in publication every month since 1969. Dharma Master Xiang is the executive editor of Vajra Bodhi.
在中场休息时间来到之前，还有2个节目。接下来为大家介绍的是《金刚菩提海》月刊。我们为大家请到的是净藏法师。净藏法师是《金刚菩提海》杂志的主编。恭请法师。
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. This is the last 2 weeks of my editor-in-chief at this magazine. And this cover is the latest issue is October, but now it's November. So I still cannot make it published on time. Yeah, even before the last 2 weeks of my my job at these magazines. But 1 month behind. But I really appreciate that the whole teams, well, actually the team of many volunteers, yeah, the translators, the graphic designers, the transcribers. We need to transcribe the text from the audios. Yeah, so the team is composed of many volunteers. Without them, we cannot make these magazines publish every month. Like what you just heard, the Vietnamese Bodhi High, the Vietnamese Vajra Bodhi Si cannot even make it quarterly published, but we have to make it monthly. Okay, so I really appreciate our teams. And so now I introduced this magazine. The magazine is a Buddhist journal, Buddhist magazine. The name is sort of special, and of course it's given by the Venerable Masters. It's called the Vajra Bodhi Si. It's not like the contemporarily the Buddhist magazines with the more easy understanding names, titles, and this one is sort of strange and unfamiliar with the popular readers. So now I just want to give a brief explanations. Well, actually, it's given by our masters. So Shifu would say that the Vajra Bodhi Si, the 5 characters, actually in Chinese is 5 characters. Jinggang Puti Hai. It's our brand name. It's our brand name. So right now we are the people. So we are the people of Vajra Bodhi Si. And then when we cultivate, we obtain the aharship. Then we are the ahar of Vajra Bodhi Si. And then when we advanced our cultivations and reach the Bodhisattvahood, and then we are the Bodhisattva of Vajra Bodhi Si. And then when we accomplish the Buddhahood, then we will become the Buddha of Vajra Bodhi Si. So what's the Vajra Bodhi Si? It is, Shifu say that Vajra means indestructible, the most durable one, and nothing can destroy it. And Bodhi Si means Bodhi, it means enlightenment. So Bodhi Si is the seeds of, Shifu say that the seeds of great enlightenment. So Shifu encourages us that we need to practice, we need to learn the Dharma of indestructible. So when I asked my fellow cultivators last night, I asked him, can you tell me what's the Dharma of indestructible? What's the indestructible Dharma? Shifu encourages us to learn to practice that Dharma, which is indestructible. And then he cannot answer. And then my answer, okay, might not be the right. It's that would be our true mind, our Changzhu Zhenxing, our true mind, which is permanent, pervades everywhere, which is indestructible. So I believe that that's Shifu's wish to publish this magazine to help everybody to read, to learn, to practice, to reflect upon within, return the light within, and so we can go back to our original source, which is our true mind, and that is indestructible. So for these magazines, we try to publish the articles. Of course, no need to mention that we publish the Dharma talk, the sutra, the commentaries given by the Venerable Masters. Besides those Dharmas taught by the Venerable Masters, we also publish the articles which contributed by the cultivators. Actually, many of you today contribute your articles to these magazines over the past 70 years. So, but there are so many articles. How to select them, and what's the standard of selecting those articles to be published. To me, first, that article need to inspire me at the first place. So, and also those articles can help the readers to 回光返照, can return the light, can give us a chance, opportunity to do the self-reflections. So within the 7 years of my tenure, then I will choose that articles to publish. I want to share those cultivators' experience, stories, and with our readers, and hope that they can get a chance to 回光返照, to return the light within, and go back to the source, and learn and practice the Dharma, which is indestructible, to certify our true mind, 我们的真心. So, 师父 say that when we can reach the sea of Vajra Bodhi sea, 师父 say, until we break through the gate of birth and death. So 师父's anticipation is very high, and to every one of us. And there's also 师父's interpretation of these magazines. So the name is special, Vajra Bodhi Sea, and the cover design is special too. Okay, this is the first issue. Okay, it's from the April 1917. It's the same. I think it's the same histories as BTTS, as long as BTTS. Okay, so that's the first issues. Okay, and then when I read the first couple issues, I found that the editors, the writers are so enthusiastic and very senior and honest. You can see the line they wrote. They say, when God sees these magazines, they bow to it every day. When animals smell this magazine, they forget about eating. And write in or come up and tell us how to do it upright. Yeah, even until now, we are welcome people's comments and suggestions. But don't get angry. Buddhism is big, and we will take opinions from the whole world. Then, or angels, serpents, fairies, demons, ghosts, and humans will want to subscribe. Well, it's hard for me to receive the subscription from those non-humans. But at least I need to increase the subscriptions from human realm. That's very interesting, you know. So we want to carry the same energies until now in the future, so creative. Okay, that's the preface. It's sort of long, yeah, but it's just you can feel how those young people in the early years, they want to publish this magazine. They want to help the whole American society to learn the right Dharma, the proper Dharmas, which is they were learning now. So they want to share the Dharma beliefs with everyone as possible as they can. Okay, so now the magazine is bilingual, but at the very first place, it's only English, yeah, because at that time the society only have very few Chinese, and most of the communities are Americans, the Westerners. So in the first 99 issues, they were published in English only, and smaller size, and 40 pages. Now it's 48 pages. So, and until the 100 issues, more Chinese people coming, join the communities. So we start to publish the magazine in Chinese, but that one is not bilingual. It's different contents, different articles. So they kind of parallels two editor departments. And so 40 pages, 20 pages are English, and the other 20 pages are Chinese. They are not insignificant. Okay. Okay. Fortunately, I don't help translation with this magazine, so my English is so-so, but we have very good translators for this magazine. Okay. So and then after 263, from 264 until now, it's 48 pages, and every page are bilinguals. 2 columns. One column is Chinese, the other column is English. Yeah, so even until now. And I was told that that's a Shifu's wish to make a bilingual 2-column magazines. Okay, so, and from the cover designs, it's a format. We follow the formats. It's also given by the Shifu's. So the first issues is the 42 hands and eyes. We know that's a very precious Dharma treasures given by Shifu. So after finish the 42 hands and eye from the 43 issues, we publish the covers. We publish the great compassion mantras. So each line of mantra, one line of mantra every month. Okay, and then after we finish the great compassion mantra, then we move on to the Shurangama mantra. So the same, one line of mantra in each month. So this the mantra the Zhou Xing, okay, of the Shurangama mantra. We follow the sequences of Zhou Xing. We keep repeating the 34 Sanskrit characters. Okay, we keep repeating. So we make the black-white Sanskrit and integrate to our cover designs. So it's the same sequence. So every month we publish one line of the mantra and also one character of Zhou Xing. I believe that that's Shifu's vow and also Shifu's protection or blessings. Want to make this Dharma to maintain the proper energy of this world. So we have to publish this magazine every month, because along with these magazines, we just spray the mantra all over the world to maintain the proper energies of this world, and also give those people who want to cultivate a chance to learn the proper Dharma and help them to dispel the obstacles. So even with the covers, it carry a very, very important missions. And also the color we choose is also there as principles behind. So we need to concern the generative cycle of the 5 elements, because that's the energies between the heaven and earth. So we definitely has to follow the generative cycles to help maintain the proper energy of this world. Okay, so now is the columns included in the 48 pages magazines. So we have the proper Dharma seal, and in this columns we publish Mahayana Sutra with commentary, and of course the commentary given by the Venerable Master. And also we have the biographies. That's the biography of patriarchs, or the historical features like Shui Jinghui Tianlu, and also the biography of Venerable Master Hua. And we have the Dharma talks, and it's given by the Venerable Master Hua, the talks on the Chen or Pure Lands, or any all the daily practice. Yeah, so we also publish Shifu's instructional talk, not only the lecture commentary, the sutra commentary. And then we have the focus on educations. We have the Bodhi field. So for the Bodhi fields, we welcome people's contributions. So those articles can help people bring their Bodhi resolve. Yeah. And the last column is news from the Dharma Realm, because it's a magazine, so we need to kind of keep updates of these organizations, of this the associations. So we report the events happens in the branches or our school, like the DRBUs, or our high school, and also city for 10,000 Buddhas. So this part is more informative and more updates. Try to keep the whole communities can unite it together and knew each other better. So here's go online. We put our magazines online. We have two versions. One is the image versions. It look like the galleries. We scanned every pages of every issues and upload and then make it like albums. So it's like a film archive. And the other version is text version, so you can do the search. So it's a very good database. Like if in case you want to find how to translate 回光返照, and then you can go to this website and then key in 回光返照 and go search. Then you can find all the translations published in these magazines. How many different versions of translation of 回光返照. So it's very convenient for people to do the search. And we have the Facebook. Yeah, we also have Facebook. It's more interactive with our readers. And then now, how many people follow? 788. But it's not very updated, but we will improve in the future. So that's all we have today. Okay.
Coming to DRBU has probably been one of the best decisions of my life. Because what I was doing in my previous degree, I don't think would have been extremely beneficial to my life.
I was really at a loss. I felt like ask myself some difficult questions about what it means just to be in the world. It seems like this place may help me to ask those questions.
People don't hold you to having to be the person that you were when you walked in the door. But there's this like underlying, spirit of like, yeah, change, grow, become a better person, keep learning, keep understanding.
People are very accommodating.
And is very willing to help you acclimatize to this environment. The deep respect that everyone has for each other. And they'll treat you with the same respect with where you're at as well.
Everyone is so sincere here. It's hard to get mad at anyone about anything.
I fell in love with the place. It was just one of the most, incredible places I've been.
I just feel like there's really good people. They're inspired to be here. They're excited to be here. Like there's a sense of aliveness. Even though we're a really small school, there's a sense of it being really alive. And it's not about the quantity of people. It feels more about the quality of the people.
I love Chinese. I'm really excited to take another year.
It's not about just learning the words. It's about really understanding where they come from and how they think.
I'd say it's a really unique dynamic between ancient and modern.
There hasn't really been a break between the classroom space and outside of the classroom space. The classroom experience ends or begins or anything like that. Like the whole thing is the classroom.
The professor isn't so much lecturing as they are like facilitating a deep discussion. That method really inspires a sense of confidence that's able to grow.
It brings deep conversation. It brings exploring the world as we're in it today based on these texts that are just years old. And I think people that are interested in actually exploring more and going deeper and having more of a richer understanding of life and how we work and how we function would really benefit from this program and actually enjoy it.
I just feel a lot more possibility. Things felt really closed off for me before I came here. I feel more of a sense of purpose than I had before.
And one of the most fun and I think curious and exciting things about being here is finding a new version of ourselves. It's beautiful and incredible, and I think quite possibly for everyone.
Is a tool and a form to be able to fit into to help you, become the kind of person that you want to be. There is definitely here in the customs and in the etiquette something that's very beautiful and something that's permeated with virtue.
It is a Buddhist university, yet it's not just a Buddhist program.
I'm not Buddhist. I don't have to be Buddhist to attend the school. The BA program has both classes from the Western tradition and classes from the Eastern tradition, but also like science, mathematics, music, writing.
In the master's program here, where we study original Chinese texts, Pali texts, so we're exposed to a variety of texts, and many of those texts we really go into quite a bit of depth. I'm surrounded by people who value meditation, value their spiritual exercises. We have the vegetarian diet, which supports meditation practice.
Coming to DRBU, I think that's the best gift that you can give yourself.
Don't be scared away by the fact that it's a little bit weird. But just give it a chance, because actually that kind of weirdness that it has is not separate from what is so wonderful about it.
I'm just going to say a few words because it's been a long afternoon and I'm very inspiring. I have loved every minute of this. I just want to acknowledge the work of the people that I work with who are so amazing. And also we have quite a few of our students in the program here, in either helping out or coming to visit, students and graduates. So I just wanted to say that first of all, I think about, because I was there when Shifu started the university in 1976, and it just warms my heart to be here today and to see what has happened. And it isn't just from what's happened with the university. I saw the picture upstairs of Shifu getting off the plane in 1962, coming here with, just by himself without speaking any English. And look what has come from this. All of this that is happening today, all of this dedication and hard work, it's like he dropped a pebble in an infinite pool, and the ripples are still spreading out. And the reach is incomprehensible and vast, and it's going to continue to grow. And I heard somebody say earlier that Shifu wanted to do good in the world, wanted us to do good in the world. And I think that you have seen this afternoon, and all of us who are still working on his vision can see that that is what he wanted us to do. And I feel so happy that we are still doing it. So I think that's all I'll say. And Master Liang.
Oh, I'm next. Okay, so I prepared a talk, and now the time is, and so I have to listen to my Hsuan. So I'm going to give the whole talk, okay? So please be patient with me, all right? So I was asked to actually give a talk on Shifu's vision of DRBU, and so this is a daunting task. I could go on forever, but I seriously doubt it's possible to completely comprehend the Master's vision on anything. Nevertheless, I will try by sharing some of my observations and experiences and meager understanding of the Master's vision for DRBU. So in Buddhism, it's said that the Bodhisattva enlightens himself and enlightens others, saves himself and saves others. The Buddha taught that ultimate enlightenment is not some abstract ideal, but is the culmination of the development of human consciousness and its capacity to fathom the true nature of all things. And so it encompasses all knowledge and understanding. Of the Master's 18 great vows, in the first 9, he vows that he himself will not attain perfect enlightenment until every single living being from every class of living beings reaches enlightenment. And so his vision, his dedication to bringing all living beings to enlightenment, to learn over many, many lifetimes, is inconceivable and unending. We know from the Master's biography that he, from an early age, recognized the vital importance of education. In the face of sparse opportunities in the agricultural rural environment where he was born and raised, he avidly pursued education and was able to memorize all the essential scholarly Chinese medicine and classical, philosophical, and literary texts by the age of 17. Not only did he value education for himself, he recognized the benefit of education for all. And at the age of 18, with virtually no funding or support, he opened a free school in his village and began teaching there. And he never abandoned his dedication to education as an essential element to the enlightenment of all living beings. Throughout his lifetime, every breath, up until his very last breath, was dedicated to teaching and saving all living beings, and this remains true today. In 1969, 7 years after first arriving in America, the Master established Sino-American Buddhist Association, SABA, later renamed DRBA, as primarily a religious educational endeavor. This is evidenced in his article of incorporation, which I was going to show you, but I've taken out, registered with the California government. We know the reason that religious organizations are granted tax-exempt status in the U.S. is based on their intention to benefit society and individuals. Clearly, the Sino-American Buddhist Association's case, the Master saw that most effective and long-lasting benefit to people and to society was through education. From the articles, we can also see that the Master's vision of education has always been diverse, and that interfaith and interdisciplinary dialogue has always been an essential aspect of the Master's vision for Buddhism and for education. And so from the earliest days of the Buddhist lecture hall and on to Gold Mountain Monastery, the Master conducted educational activities as described in the Articles of Incorporation, and this evolved up to the establishment of DRBU in 1976, when the Master first announced it as his gift to the U.S. on its 200th anniversary. It wasn't until 1984, 8 years later, however, that DRBU was legally certified by the state of California to grant degrees. In that same year, the Master changed the name of Sino-American Buddhist Association to Dharma Realm Buddhist Association. And so the Master's vision on education was then revealed to extend not only internationally, but to the entire Dharma realm, and thus he expanded the very meaning of universal and university. The Master taught that education is a lifelong process, one in which we never stop learning. And so eventually he established educational programs for all ages and all propensities and abilities. He didn't leave a single person out, but included everyone. Moreover, as a reformer of education, he reinstated its essential role in teaching people how to be human, in introducing students to the joy of learning, in initiating each student in a lifelong process of trying to ever become a better and better person, in making each student aware of their connection and responsibility to themselves, their families, society, and the world. This expanded vision of education to include not only academic learning and job preparation, but character development means that every place is a classroom and every situation is an opportunity to learn and to practice, whether sitting in a classroom, riding on a bus, or working in the kitchen. And now for a couple of stories to illustrate how the Master actually put this into practice. The Master was the founder, first president, and primary instructor of DRBU. It all started at Gold Mountain Monastery, when education was part of the daily routine. Any proper and available subject was offered. This turned out to especially be the study of many different languages. With the move to CDDB, the entire campus became one huge classroom. Everything at CDDB was interconnected. as in the Avatamsaka state, and every member of CTTB was a student. Classes the master taught comprised the core curriculum. One of my favorite classes was Duilian, or matched couplets. This was a skillful and fun way that the master taught classical Chinese culture, poetry, syntax, grammar, vocabulary, and so on. From the late 70s to the late 80s, on weeks when he was not visiting one of the branches like Gold Buddhist Monastery or Gold Wheel Temple to encourage and instruct the nuns or monks there, he would commute from San Francisco to Ukiah on Friday evenings, arriving just before the 7:30 p.m. Without stopping to rest or drink water, he would go directly to Wonderful Words Hall and wait for the assembly to arrive. At the end of that evening's lecture, he would write on the board the first line of a couplet for us to match, so that we would have a sleepless night trying to come up with a matching line for the next morning's class. Early the next morning, the master would promptly open the class. That was at 6:30 a.m. Every person living at CTTB, no matter what his age or her age, would attend this DRBU class. In an orderly fashion, each student would go up to the board and write down their matching line until the huge board was filled, entirely filled. The little ones who couldn't reach the lowest part of the board would be given a stool to stand on. Everyone was cooperative, helpful, and polite, and everyone happily engaged in the class. As students wrote their matching lines, the master mingled among them, going over each matching line very carefully. In some cases, he would make corrections or changes, and after going over each one, he would give it 1 or 2 circles. Not all of his changes were corrections. Some were ways of communicating a personal teaching to the author of the matching line, which I'm trying to rush, while simultaneously providing a teaching for the entire class. Whether the master made changes to a matching line or not, each student would get a circle or 2, and each would get a personal teaching. Not only he and the master understood. This was a secret Dharma, a timely teaching, while at the same time we all learned from each other. After being seated, each of us would look toward the person at our left and to our right with a knowing smile of recognition of this inexplicable state. Another education innovation that the master created in those days, he titled Developing Inherent Wisdom. The very title of this teaching method speaks to the Buddhist principle that all living beings possess the Buddha nature and can become Buddhas. It also reveals the master's hope that his disciples develop and learn to use their own wisdom. This also involved developing one's Dharma selecting eye, or ability to perceive things as they really are, especially as it pertains to what is beneficial and what is harmful, to what is true and what is false. In other words, critical thinking. Now, should I take the time to describe for you what the class was like, or do you want me to cut that part out? Keep going. Okay. This method of developing inherent wisdom was delivered in a very special format. The master assigned a teaching assistant, Dharma Master Xian, to prepare reference material for the class. This usually included a glossary of technical terms as well as difficult Chinese characters for the passage. In those days, the cutting-edge way of reproducing these handouts was the mimeograph machine. Whether or not you know what is a mimeograph machine reveals something about your age. The master would assign someone to write the passage on the board in both Chinese and English before the class. The class would begin, of course, with requesting Dharma. Next, the entire class in unison would read aloud from the board and recite the passage in Chinese and English. Following that, the teaching assistant would give a brief introduction and overview of the passage of text with reference to the handout. The master had 2 containers of sticks, one container for male students and one for female students. Each stick had the name of a student written on it. At this point, the master would pull out a stick from one of the containers and that person had to go up to the podium and do one of three things. Either recite the passage from memory, or repeat the teaching assistant's introduction and overview, or give his or her own interpretation of the text. The sticks were pulled such that men and women took turns. The master always gave men and women equal opportunity to learn and to speak. The first two speakers followed 1 to 3 above. The next two speakers were supposed to critique the first two speakers, so that altogether 4 students got up to speak. At the very end, the master would do a wrap-up, adding any important points that were overlooked and correcting any misstatements that had been made by the speakers. One of the beauties of this method was that nobody dared to fall asleep. Everyone had to prepare for the class and pay attention in class in anticipation of being called upon. And so this method was very effectively engaging. Of course, everyone would much rather have sat and listened to the Venerable Master's commentary. Nevertheless, this was a way that the Master taught his disciples to speak Dharma themselves. This was also a way to elicit the students' inherent wisdom by learning how to listen and to think critically. And of course, at the end, he would clear up any misstatements or half-truths so that everyone came away from the class with proper understanding and proper views. And so the essential points of his teaching method were close reading of the text, engaging students in the class, activating critical thinking, developing skill in listening, comprehension, and speaking, sharing insights, developing inherent wisdom. Now, as to the vision of his vision of DRBU's scale and influence, the Master compared DRBU to Nalanda, the world's first grand Buddhist international university in India, and he further predicted that one day DRBU would reach the state of Harvard, the stature of Harvard, He stated that DRBU's programs would eventually include every known discipline and area of knowledge and skill. Ever since the Venerable Master's nirvana, those disciples who received his compassionate instruction have endeavored to understand his vision of education and to carry it on. In DRBU, a small but dedicated group of former DRBU professors and alumni and IGDVS students, teachers, have dedicated themselves to understanding the Master's vision and methodology, articulating them, and bringing DRBU closer to the realization of them. After years of working toward this goal, DRBU's mission and pedagogy incorporates the essential elements of the Master's method of developing inherent wisdom. In closing, let me share DRBU's current mission statement. Dharma Realm Buddhist University is a community dedicated to liberal education in the broad Buddhist tradition, a tradition characterized by knowledge in the arts and sciences, self-cultivation, and the pursuit of wisdom. Its pedagogical aim is thus twofold: to convey knowledge and to activate an intrinsic wisdom possessed by all individuals. Developing this inherent capacity requires an orientation toward learning that is dialogical, interactive, probing, and deeply self-reflective. Such education makes one free in the deepest sense and opens the opportunity to pursue the highest goals of human existence. It is our profound hope that DRBU will one day reach the full extent of the Venerable Master's vision.
Hello, I'll keep my remark very brief. So I would say I'm a product of the educational system that's established by Venerable Master. I attended the Developing Virtue Secondary School, and also quite a few of the current key faculty and staff at the university are also graduates of that program, and it is our honor and privilege and joy to be growing this university now to bring in the next generation, the future generations of people who are coming into contact with the Buddhist teaching and the Dharma. The other part I want to add is that currently we have 2 programs, a Master's in Buddhist Classics program, BA in Liberal Arts. We are small and we're growing rapidly. Right now, between the 2 programs, we have close to 50 students in both degree programs. earlier this year, around March, DRBU, after years of hard work and dedication, received a formal accreditation by the WASC, which is the Western Association that of colleges and schools that accredited universities. And earlier during the summertime, we also received permission to now we can review and accept international students. So those are key milestones within the last 6 months of within the university. So in closing, if those who saw the video earlier, if you want to see that clip or forward to people that you know, you can get it from our main website, drbu.edu. And I also encourage people to pick up this view book. You can find it in the back. You can check it with Mojo or Rod. If you are really interested in the program, you can pick up the thicker book that actually describes it's a catalog and describes our curriculum in detail. So thank you, everyone.
Next, we'd like to invite Mr. Jason Tseng, who is the DRBU Extension Program Coordinator, to talk a little bit more about the programs and retreats and sessions offered through DRBU Extension.
接下来，我们将为大家介绍法界佛教大学的推广教育中心。我们邀请到曾俊明居士为大家介绍。曾俊明居士是法界佛教大学教育推广中心的课程统筹。
Hello, everyone. I'm here to present and represent for the DRBU Extension team. I've been told to keep my presentations very short, which actually makes me very happy. As you guys probably know, I'm probably not the best, public speaker or anything like that, but I do have a lot of pictures. DRBU Extension, we provide programs outside of the DRBU program. Which is, I think, for undergraduates, a 4-year program, and for the master's program, a 2-year program, and to actually serve as a way to, make the rich and very deep offerings of DRBA accessible, and also to bridge the different programs within DRBA as well. Okay, let me just go forward. Oh, okay. About us, this is a little bit of I'm just going to power through the slides really quickly, but these are kind of the taglines within our website, but I think our mission statement's actually very connected with the DRBU program. So we emphasize kind of activating inherent wisdom, as well as we base our program a lot on our DNA is similar to what was kind of taught by Master Hua about kind of basing it on close reading of the classical texts. So we're actually always trying to point our teachings back to the text and not necessarily to the instructors. And the other underpinning is actually basing the structure of the programs within the monastic environment, as well as the monastic schedules. And participants get the opportunities to practice alongside with monks and nuns, as well as being taught by monastic instructors as well as other lay instructors. So I think that's a really quick summary of what we do. And then this is kind of a way as a scaffolding. So there's different entry points for people, and then maybe even a little theory of where people can kind of progress. Don't have time to read it out loud, but we have various offerings, drop-in classes, online classes, day-long retreats, and then longer, more week-long retreats, and then monastic immersion, SLTP, DRB, university student volunteers. So as you could see, the offerings within DRBA is very rich. So it's more just to for people to be able to enter that. Okay, I'm just gonna. I think there's a lot of posters done by our very talented, graphic designer Jing Hersher. So here are some various advertisements, and then this is Buddhism for the Martyr Mind. There's posters for that, and some of the topics is, what am I doing with my life? Things are not working right now. Can I be honest with myself? Various things as we kind of connect. Also, Buddhism with kind of more contemporary philosophy, like psychology, science, technology, and education. And then this is actually a class mechanism of practice where we unpack, rituals and ceremonies within, morning and evening ceremony. This is taught by Dharma Master Heng Chih and also Doug Powers as well, and it was very well received. These are the various offerings of our class schedule within, CTDB. Okay, so here are some retreats, and we just basically piggyback or make existing monastic retreats very more accessible. In CTDB, there are already Guanyin sessions ongoing, like 3 times a year, Amitabha retreats at Earth Store. It's very rich, so we just kind of make that accessible by offering orientations, evening classes, discussions, and other things. Here's another wonderful posters of the Guanyin retreat, Amitabha retreat. And this is a one-day kind of retreat led by our senior monastic, Reverend Heng Chih, where he kind of talks about how to grow up in this contemporary society, and what are role models. And, it's very interesting, like how to grow up these days. Okay. Okay, so then this is our summer retreat. That's basically, I think, for 7 days. I think I see some participants here, actually. And this one's actually very interesting in that Ukiah is like a French feminist philosopher, and we're actually studying one of her texts alongside with Nagarjuna's 6 paramitas. So you're kind of like something very contemporary, something very old and very deep. Okay, and here's some pictures. I think this is actually Doug lecturing, and we're kind of like going around kind of circle style. Some more pictures. There we go. And this is actually pictures from, I think, our summer retreat. That's 7 days, and you could actually see people working. And as all the retreat participants actually are assigned a job, so a lot of the work actually, the retreat runs itself, just based on kind of the participants as well. And there's kind of it's lecture based, but it's also there's a lot of discussions. Sometimes people think it's the meditation retreat's just a lot of meditation, but sometimes we also want to activate our internal wisdom by just talking with other people and sharing each other's wisdom. Okay, more pictures. I think this is in the courtyard in Suna Center, and then we circumambulate, and it's actually a very wonderful space. And then longer retreats. This is the monastic immersion, living to practice. It's actually also, I think, is a wonderful retreat. I think it's usually about 5 to 3 weeks long. And as you could see, we're actually just sitting around a circle, kind of examining a text closely together. Okay. And I don't have time to go into all the stories of the different participants, but I think some of them, eventually go on to either be volunteers or also become students in university. Okay, and then this is Pedro working wiring electricians, Flavia, Megan. And then at the end, they get a little, actually, graduation certificate. And, okay, and this is our website. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to invite Dharma Master Xiang back to the stage to introduce our schools, Instilling Goodness, Developing Virtue. Dharma Master Xiang is a Sanskrit instructor at DRBU and also teaches meditation and ethics at IGDVS. And she also teaches Tai Chi to students.
我们要再次邀请净祥法师回到台上来，为大家介绍玉良小学以及培德中学。净祥法师是法界佛教大学的梵文教授，同时也是玉良小学、培德中学教导禅坐及伦理课程的老师。他同时也在万佛圣城教授女众打太极拳。
Hello, I'm back again. I'd like to talk a little bit about the close division of the Instilling Goodness, Developing Virtue School. Okay. Oh, okay. This one. This one. Oh, okay. So this is the school's mission statement. So it emphasizes the core virtues of the 8 core virtues of Confucianism. But I heard that it didn't start out as character-based. I mean, it didn't start out as Confucian ethics, but character-based values. So here we have core virtues of propriety, fairness, integrity, kindness, filial reverence, humility, citizenship, and trustworthiness. So, and then we provide the environment for students to grow and achieve their academic potential and become good citizens. And these are the Chinese for the 8 core virtues. And these are the 4 outcomes. So these are, the first is practicing the 8 core virtues. Second is the inherent spiritual wisdom. Third is academic potential. And fourth is developing awareness in the multicultural and global areas. So I'd like to highlight 2 recent events that the girls were involved in. So just last week, we had Honoring Elders Day at the local Adventist Hospital of Ukiah Valley. So what happened was we connected the girls group principal, Jin Zhishi, connected with one of the people at the Adventist Hospital, and that was past summer. And then another lady, staff carried it to make this happen. So we had the girls go there, and in a small room, we had 4 groups of students. There was massaging service and origami, paper folding, and there was knitting, and there's something else. So there were groups of students offering these services to people passing by, and then we also offered lunch, and there's music and so on. So we had, it was on a Sunday, so we had staff members of the hospital come and ask questions, and so they were invited to attend the honoring elders at the City of 10,000 Buddhas. Yeah, it just happened today. So this is another event that happened last week, and is in conjunction with the 100th anniversary of Venerable Master Hua. And we had a poetry recitation contest between the boys division and girls division. And so there was the requirement that they need to memorize and recite the verses written by Venerable Master. And so in the girls division, we had girls division contest, and then 4 students, the top 4 students participated in the final contest. It was held at the Wonderful Words Hall, and we had an interesting contest. There were 2 categories, 7th and 9th grade, and then 10th to 12th grade. So we picked top 3 in each category. So those winners, just today we recited the verses at the Honoring Elders Day at the CTTB. So here's the wonderful verse hall, the blackboard. This is one of the winners, Amy Liu. And actually, later on I can show you the website. Okay, how do I click? Is it possible to click? Just IG, the main website.
Next, we would like to invite Mrs. Priscilla Ye, the Women's Volunteer Coordinator of the Volunteer Program at CTTB, to talk a little bit more about residential volunteers at the City of 10,000 Buddhas.
接下来，我们邀请周瑞芬居士为大家介绍万佛圣城的义工服务计划。周瑞芬居士是万佛圣城女性义工部门的统筹人员。
I'll try to make this as brief as possible so everybody can go home. So my name is Priscilla Ye, and I think most people have been to CTTB already. So this is what you see there. Okay, the blue sky, the Buddha Hall and all that. So I'm just going to skip that. And to me, CTTB is a place for cultivation and transcendence, and it's a unique place. Because you cannot find very many places in the world has a fourfold assembly, all living in one community, and with the 800 acres, and so many buildings, and there's so many functions. Have Buddha Hall, dining hall, and schools and university, but most of the work are done by the volunteers. We consider all the monks and nuns are volunteers too. Okay, so this is very amazing. When our visitors come, they are all amazed that we have all the work done by the volunteer, and and also why the work is all done by the volunteer, because we look at the work as part of the cultivation. It's not work. So you do not do the work for a compensation, any kind of compensation, but as part of the cultivation, and we do get our compensation in a much better way than a monetary way. Okay, we cultivate, we grow, we transcend, and that's not any amount of money can buy. So we are there to serve, not for monetary compensation. And also, no work is higher than the others. We only ask, whatever we do, can we help to make the community a better place for cultivation? And that's the only question we ask. If cooking, if sweeping, washing toilet can make that happen, we do that. And here are just a list of all different departments you can volunteer, and this is only partial list. So it's a big place and has lots of work can be done, so we will never have too many volunteers, and that's for sure. And here I just like to share a little bit of my experience. This is my 16th year as the resident volunteer at CTTB. When I went there at the age of 63, I thought I have 10 good years to contribute. And before I know it, it's going on 16th year, and I'm still going. And here are just a list of things that I'm currently involved. okay? And one big part is being the volunteer coordinator for the women's side. And CTTB is also run by committees. So many people have to be on this committee to make decisions, to make things happen. And here just a list of things that I'm involved in. And, and currently I'm involved in the renovation project of making an old boiler building into a earth-door hall. And very happy to report, finally after all the years, it started construction and it will be completed in 1 year. The interesting thing is I'm busier today than before I retired as an entrepreneur, but I'm a lot healthier than the day I walked into CTTB. So how did this happen? So I thought about that too. So I summarized in a few points. Because CTTB is a quiet, natural environment. People have been there knows it's in a rural area. So we have fresh air every day. Clear blue sky, about 300 days out of the year. And it's, it's a natural environment with lots of trees over 100-year-old. And so it's a healthy environment. Actually, it's a simple. If you know the living quarter of most people, definitely monastic, even lay people, the living quarter is usually very, very small, that you cannot keep a lot of things. So that's a good part, because the smaller the room, the less the thing you have, then the more freedom you have. And that's a very interesting thing. And, and the other thing is a very healthy lifestyle. Balanced, nutritious vegetarian food. And every day you get up early for the ceremony, and then you go to bed early. And you walk from place to place every day, and there we know that Dharma Master here teaches Tai Chi and yoga, all these wonderful things. So make everybody healthy. And it's a lifestyle that helps us to connect within. In this modern world, we trying to reach out externally, trying to get things that we want. But really, we at the end, we usually did not find what we want. And however, living in CTTB, it's so easy that we kind of do not look outside anymore. Why? There's no television. We do not have newspaper. We live in a very quiet place, and with lots of meditations and ceremony. So you reach inside instead of outside, and that makes you happy and healthy. And it's a lifestyle of the contentment. Contentment actually is the best asset anybody can have. And because when we are content, then we do not need to go out and get things anymore. Then we can really go inside and be very quiet and connect with ourselves. And Master Hua has the 6 principles. Actually, those 6 principles, if you live daily, it helps us to reach that point of containment. And here's one, and here's not the exact word of the 6 principles. It's my application of the 6 principles. And after all these years, I realized we need very little. Just want to share one example, personal example. In 2003, my husband and I, we drove to CTTB to trying to live there for a few months to see if that's a place for us. So we have a big car, a Suburban, and we loaded up a few pots and pans and blankets and pillows and things like that. And my husband said, you cannot block any windows. In other words, everything has to be not that full, okay? So we just brought a few things. So funny thing is, at the end of 9 months, we have gone through all 4 seasons of the weather, so we did not miss a thing. And we still have a house in Texas, which is 3,400 square feet. full of closets, full of everything. We say, what are we going to do with that house and those things? We don't need it. Also, 9 months, I didn't miss a single thing. So that just shows you we need very little. And so enough is good. That we all know what we need and what we want has a big distance. The interesting thing is that living in CTTB for a period of time, that become one thing. You don't have anything you want anymore. Once you have everything you need, that's all you need. That's all you, nothing is attractive anymore. We literally find that. So just living with what you need is all we want. So life becomes so simple. And so frugal and all these things, principle is very easy to follow. And this is the same thing. The less we want, the happier we are. We actually have more freedom. You don't have all the clutter. You don't have all these things. What do I do with it? You don't have a lot of things you have to dust because it collects dust. So simpler, the better. And so you go within, and you begin to connect to that part that really we are all one. So it's very easy to think for others before you think for yourself. And why that's so great? Sometimes we talk to people in the world that, try to be that big person, thinking for others first. And the answer usually is, why should I do that? Why cannot the other person be the big person? Actually, because we are all one. And then especially when you are focusing on other people's need, their suffering and all that, if you help them, you lessen their suffering. Actually, that makes you so much happier than any other things can make you happy. And for that reason, trying to think for other people first before you think for yourself. Try it. It will make you very happy. So that's the same thing. Giving is much more satisfying than receiving. And we also talk about that. The giving we're talking about here is not necessarily property, money, possessions. Actually, the best giving is sharing with people your kindness, and all these dharma, helping other people lessen their suffering. That's all giving. And if you can help other people to put a smile on their face, that's much more rewarding than anything money can buy. So try that too. So be genuine. In this world, everybody's trying to be somebody else besides themselves, trying to meet the expectation of our parents, of our teacher, of our coworker. That's a very busy life. But if we can be authentic, just who you are, and you are part of the whole, we are all one, life becomes very, very simple. You don't have to pretend anything. You are yourself every day, every moment. That makes you very happy and very carefree. So this is my presentation, and thank you very much. And if you are interested to become a volunteer, here's our website. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Ye. Next, we would like to invite Dharma Master Chih back to give a few closing remarks.
接下来我们要再次的欢迎持法师回到台上来为我们致闭幕词。
Well, I would like to go back to my favorite topic, which is translation. When we cultivate, we have been taught by the Master to also look at the texts for what advice we can get about our practice. So instead of only meditation, we do meditation and we try to go into the sutras. And going into the sutras, there are several ways. I've done all these. One of them is to write out the sutra. You pick a sutra you like and you you use good calligraphy. In my case, I used blood. And you write out in the language you wish. I wrote it out in Chinese. And by doing so, you go in deep to what the meaning is. Another way to deal with learning about the sutras is to bow to them. I've done that. I bowed to every character of the Sixth Patriarch Sutra back at the Buddhist lecture hall at the beginning of everything. It's also a way to learn. That particular sutra had a lot of characters that aren't in most Buddhist texts, and I had to look them up and figure out what they said and then do the bowing. That's another way to go in deep. Another way, which the Master didn't present to us Westerners until there were Asians, and then he taught us we could chant the sutras. And at most of our way places, they're chanted in Chinese. We also instigated ways that we could chant them in English. It's another way to go into the sutra. Another way at the university you've been hearing is to close read the sutras, which is what the Master's program is all about from my perspective, because I'm always asked to teach the sutra courses. So by looking into each passage and trying to figure out with our own perspective what it means, we can get a lot out of the sutras. I remember when in 1968, when Shifu lectured the Shurangama, one of the major things at the beginning was the title, and the second one was, who are the translators? If you know anything about Dharma masters reciting, lecturing sutras, very often they don't mention the translators. The Master spent quite a long time. There were 4, as our 4 committees are, and he taught us all about who they were. And he said, whenever you open a sutra, whenever you chant or you write out or you bow or you close read, you need to thank the translator. So in the end, because Shifu wanted me to be a translator, I will tell you that the deepest impressions I get using all these methods is through translation, because you're taking principles out of one language and bringing them into another. And as several people have said, that requires you do it accurately. So I'm making a pitch, really, that more of you, all of you have language. Some language. And BTTS needs all language. So you don't have to be, in this day and age, you don't have to be bilingual. You can be really good in Spanish, or really good in Italian, or really good in Polish language. And you'll find somebody to hook up with, either to translate out of English into Polish, or out of Chinese into English, and you find the Chinese person, and the Chinese person and you get together, and between the two of you, you bring it across, and you bring it across accurately. So there's really no way that anybody in this room can say, I couldn't be a translator, because you have language. And if we think about language, translation is involved. Clear back to the beginning of writing something down. We owe it to the translators who put Sanskrit down on paper and who put Chinese down on, that time it was wood blocks, I think, and who put it down in English for us. You can't really have language without thanking translators. And you can't be a person with language and not be a potential translator. So I urge you, because there's much work to be done, to try it out. Give yourself, a 3-month period of trial, and work with somebody who has a language that you want to make the principal language or the target language, and see how you get along, and see what comes out of it. To me, it's the way to go deepest into the meaning of the sutra. You can't not think about the deepest meaning of the sutra and try to put it in another language. It's impossible. So, with that, thank you for being so patient with us. It's now 20 of 6, and we hope to see you all soon at one of our branches or at the City of 10,000 Buddhists.
Finally, to conclude this afternoon, we would like to invite Dharma Master Heng Liang and Dharma Master Heng Zhao at 5:45. So we're going to do a very quick transference because the library is closing at 5:45, and then we're going to quickly and safely depart from here. So let's invite Dharma Master Liang and Dharma Master Zhao back to the stage.
请教法师和梁法师，我们在节目的最后带领大家一起回向。
May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master.